What's up, people? Welcome to another episode of Golan's Garage, where we talk about facts and feelings. Today is round 2 with Hassan Habib, the person who came on episode 2. He's waving out to you over there. But Hassan, welcome to the episode again.
Pleasure to meet you, brother.
It's been almost a year since we came and talked about it, right? So, and I have an update on a couple of things in your life. You changed teams in Microsoft. You went to something in AI or something like robotics.
Mixed reality.
Mixed reality.
Yeah.
Then you wrote a book as well. Tell me, catch us up with like everything that has happened over a year in your life. What have you been up to? And like literally everything.
I'll tell you this much, and this is what I always try to tell people, right? You only live once, right? You have so much time, and the cool thing about life is that you don't know where this amazing life that you have, is going to end. So unless you fill every single minute, every single day with people and love and passion and try to change things around you all the time, then what kind of life is this, right? Imagine if your life was an option for purchase in a store, right? Who will buy this life, right? Just think about what you're really doing with this precious time. And I'm saying this specifically for people in their 20s, their 30s, people that still have the energy, your time is very important. Don't waste it doing something dull and random and you don't really get anything out of it.
So what like was moving to a new team a part of this, and what made you move to mixed reality in Microsoft?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was the main ambition, or what was the driving force? Was it the kick in the morning? Was it learning something new? What was it?
So someone on social media asked me this once. He says, Hassan, what are your goals, your resolutions? The regular question that everybody gets every new year, right? By the way,
what are your New Year resolution on that topic? Yes, it's January, right?
I'll tell you. My New Year starts somewhere in August because I follow the Hijri kind of date. But
gotcha.
My goals since I was 16 haven't really changed that much. My goals are always to do something that contributes directly to the survival, evolution, and fulfillment of mankind. Starts by myself, people that I can reach to, and then people that I will never meet. This doesn't change. This has been there for over 20 years, right? The tools and the mechanisms that I'm using to kind of make this happen changes all the time, right? Like contributing to the evolution of mankind, what is the bleeding edge, the thing that's out there today that's trying to take that leap to the next level? We've been carrying these phones for almost 20 years now, right? Do you remember the Nokia 32010? Or you could hit someone with
indestructible phone,
right? It doesn't make sense that almost a quarter of a century later, and we're still walking around with phones, right? How can I be, at the crew, the visionary vanguards, the trailblazers that are pushing the evolution of mankind forward? I joined mixed reality, HoloLens, the next generation of computation, right? So these phones, my expectation, this is my personal opinion, my expectation is that these phones are going to be something of the past, right? Do you remember these cars that used to have wired phones in them that only rich people could use?
That
was a thing.
The phones used to be attached to the wall. There used to be a wire you cannot move around.
In a car
as well. Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah, it was a mobile phone. It was created by Ericsson and Alcatel, and you never hear about these phones anymore, right? It's becoming something of the past.
It's a gone technology now.
It's gone, right? The same way we look at a lot of things in the past. Do you remember the dial phone and all that? Today, if you're talking to a Gen Zers and tell them, a dial phone and a cord, and you have to stand in the middle of the house.
Not just that, internet, right?
Don't even know how to send mail. They don't even know how to stamp.
The internet used to work in a way in my house that if someone, if I'm using internet, if someone picks up the phone, the internet goes away. So I had to specifically say, don't pick up the phone. I'm searching for something. I'm downloading an MP4.
The dial-up.
Yeah, the dial-ups. Yeah.
You had to choke a cat.
Exactly.
You have to summon demons from the internet. This is not an advocacy for animal violence. This is just a joke.
Yeah.
You have to say that these days. I'm joking.
Statutory warning. It has to be there. Yes.
I'm still waiting for a sick beat with that sound, like.
you know who put that beat in their song, and a lot of people will not remember because new era, new age. NSYNC. Do you remember NSYNC?
No, I've heard of NSYNC, but I don't know who NSYNC is.
I heard someone.
Let me me search it. Like who NSYNC
Yeah,
is.
NSYNC. I heard someone, a little bit on the younger side, and they really carbon date them. Say it NSYNC, and I was like,
Oh,
stop
They
that right
spelt
now.
it out.
Yeah, and I was like,
Nice.
okay, that's it.
I've never heard of
I'm not gonna
NSYNC.
do
Does
that.
It's a
mean-
1995 thing.
Yeah, I
you
was
folks are
born
not
in
even born then.
96, so I have no idea.
But I know NSYNC.
Yeah, so I did not know about
They
NSYNC.
put it in the tone of their song long time ago. They call the music is called Digital Get Down. And he was singing about how crazy it is that you can talk to someone million miles away
Yeah.
and still can see them and hear them. What kind of sorcery is that? Today, if you just tell someone
That's
they'll
like
be
sci-fi for that time, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
today, if you tell someone, they'll be like, so what?
No, they'll be like, wait, what? Really? So question, why did you move intra Microsoft? Why did you not go to the best company which is doing AI? Like there are so many
Open-
companies, right? Why
Open-
particularly
Open
Microsoft
AI,
itself?
We're the best
OpenAI.
company. We're the best company that does where Microsoft have been investing in mixed reality, for years now, almost 12, 13 years. We actually coined, some of the terms in this technology. Like when if you look online, mixed reality as terms and all the innovations that's happening in there, we're the visionary vanguards. We're the people that are leading this. Industrial innovation in ways you wouldn't even imagine. And we have some of the smartest people. Like even when Mark Zuckerberg wanted to kind of build the Quest Pro, he was reaching out to people, inside Microsoft. They wanted to hire people from within Microsoft because he knows these are the people that actually dedicated their whole lives to make something like that happen. But additionally, it's not just about that. I do love this company. I love this company quite a bit. It's about, just like I said in the last podcast, it's about the people.
Yeah.
Like you show up at work, there's a lot of people out there that can tell you the history of technology. I had as an engineering manager, I had someone on my team who's been at Microsoft for 33 years.
Oh, wow.
So I was 3 years old when he started working at Microsoft. And even though he retired, we still maintain contact. Great human being, right? That's what really matters, what stays forever. And I always just for all the managers out there, investment in people, has much higher, impact than investment in just getting something done or pushing something across the board or calling, let's just, get the business done and then let these people work across the clock. That's not my strategy. It never was, never will.
No, that makes a lot of sense. But the fact that you pointed out that, hey, you kind of had not exactly loyalty, but you liked the people so much that you wanted to stick with Microsoft, right? But I didn't want to segue it into what happened this week, but it so happened right now that, and we'll talk about your book later on as well, right? But this week was super brutal. This week, starting with Amazon, 18,000 people laid off. Microsoft and Google, suddenly they came out of nowhere and they almost more than 10,000 people from each company were laid off, right? It ultimately, and I realized on LinkedIn, people who had 20 years experience, people had more than 15 years of experience, right? They were also the part of layoff, right? That made me wonder if people showed that loyalty to a company, but the company did not reciprocate, right? Then does your ideology stands true that you should not look at a company or people, but you should look at your personal ambitions, personal benefits while choosing a thing? Did that thought never cross your mind?
That's $1 million question. If you remember last time we had a podcast, what I always advocate for, I say never have one source of revenue.
Correct.
That's dumb, right? That's just flat out dumb. I was just talking to one of my friends the other day, actually today, this morning, and I was telling her, here's the deal. If you know how to build mobile apps, and you know that one mobile app could be sold for 99 cents.
Yeah.
And there are 2 billion mobile app users out there, and you can get just 1 million out of it, you're set for 10 years. I have absolutely no understanding. If you're spending 5 years, man, right, you're set to invent the next $1 million mobile app, right? The craziest thing I can imagine is that someone who knows how to build software and not taking their shot out there in a market that is wide open, where things like ChatGPT, TikTok, all of these apps are out there, and you're just sitting there, in a day job. Okay, fine. You want to do the day job. That's great. But you got to take your shot at something. Warren Buffett says this: you'll never be wealthy if you have one source of income, no matter what that source is.
But it's not always about revenue, right? This is where I'll push back. Sometimes it's about, as you said, the time, in a day you have 86,000 X number of seconds, right? You have to invest into things that are your priority. Sometimes the things that are priority are your family. It's not always apps. It's not always work.
Yeah.
And for people like that, what they end up doing is, if they have a steady source of income and if they don't want to be super ultra rich like billionaires, right? If jobs like that are taken away from them, right? In that case, how does a person navigate their thought process into, hey, my loyalty should be towards the company, or my loyalty towards should be the job, or should be towards mastering my craft?
Your loyalty should always be towards your principles, and whatever these principles can be implemented. I show up to Microsoft for the people, because through the people I can make my principles come to life.
Okay.
Do you understand? So, and this has always been my by the way, just so you know, throughout my 7 years at Microsoft, I've never asked for a promotion.
Oh, really?
I've never, not even once. You know, I've never, you know what I tell my manager? Just make sure I don't get fired. That's it.
Okay, perfect segue, right? Again, like
my man,
you're hitting great
Wait,
points,
but doesn't
right?
that make you feel like you're not gonna be set up to grow, or you don't care about growth?
I am in control of my own growth.
No, but you're not in control of not getting fired, right? Because sometimes a manager doesn't have control.
If that happens, then so be it. Because
Okay.
I am not like, you shouldn't be dependent, and this is my advice. Not a lot of people have this luxury. Of course, I'm coming from a place of privilege, and I acknowledge that. Not a lot of people, like if you're on visa or something like that, there are certain laws and restrictions that prevent you from having something like that. But what I always tell people, like, you know, the worst case scenario, my man, just, you know, gather some money, build a house and rent it. Don't let yourself,
at least you can get like rental income.
Yeah, don't let yourself hang in there, especially for people who buy houses and buy cars, right? Don't rely on long-term permanent investment with impermanent source of revenue.
Correct. That becomes a liability. Biggest liability.
It becomes a huge risk. You're putting yourself out there. Your house will be taken foreclosure.
Exactly.
Lose all your money, and then you're out on the street.
Yeah.
And just so you know, like, I want people to know, like, man, I don't think I slept in the last 3 days for more than like 6 or 7 hours.
Is it because you were worried about the layoffs?
No, I've been talking to people all day, all night. This guy knows, you know, we've been sitting down with people that got laid off. Okay, let's write your resume. Let's help you out. Let's see what companies
so how
are
you
there.
know people who are personally impacted, and
Of course.
Yeah, I guess how does that make you feel when you love a company so much?
Well, that's the thing. I love the people in the company.
Yeah.
Okay.
The people in the company. If there is no people in the company, then it's not a company anymore. Right?
That's true.
Okay.
It'll be
That's
just a
deep.
bunch of walls
That's
and
deep,
empty desks.
Yeah.
Well, that's what campus is right now.
Pretty much, right? And because of the people is what wakes me up in the morning. The people is what I look forward to. I show up in the office 5 days a week.
Yes.
Why is
For
that?
people.
I don't have to.
Not for food?
Dude, I don't
For
have
people.
to.
That's
I don't
pretty
have
good.
to.
That's nice.
And I still show up. Why do you show up? Because you have to show up for the people. You have to love the people. Even when they hurt you. You have to show up for the people because that's your principles.
So how did, like, can you walk us through, you know, a little bit more of the layoffs and how, you know, you said you were talking to people, like, how was it this week? What was the sentiment?
What's the sentiment across, like, people who have been laid off versus people who are like, who did not get laid off but like are now super fearful of their position in a company? Because we as a generation, right, this happened in 2008, I guess, the last time, and many of us haven't been in job markets and like haven't seen layoffs at such mass
this is
scale.
the first for
So
a
what
lot.
is the sentiment that is laying across all denominations?
Denial. Like, I would say, like, people wouldn't even want to talk about it. Like, if they didn't have it close to them, they wouldn't even want to touch the
They wouldn't
topic.
even tell you. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could cut the
tension.
the tension, with a knife, even online. Like, even if you're not going to the office.
But what's the best way of cutting the tension? Because like, no matter how you cut the tension, it's going to bleed, right?
Look. You know, I'm a religious guy, you know, fundamentally religious guy. You know, what I always tell people, look, what hit you was not meant to miss you. And what missed you was not meant to hit you. You have to know that the universe has certain balance.
Maybe something is in store for those people.
And it always is. You know,
Like looking at the bigger picture,
bigger
right?
picture.
Look at the bigger picture, right? You know, the guy that applied for a job at Meta and they rejected him, went on to build a little app called WhatsApp, and then Meta bought it from him for $9 billion.
Exactly.
Believe. And this is a message that I put out there in the old techies community. I said, believe. Don't forget, this is still the very same you that few years ago was a beast, putting the resumes out there, interviewing, killing on leak code, doing all that they can to actually get a position, get an opportunity like a lion.
Yeah.
Don't forget, that's still you.
But there's one fear, like I totally agree with the sentiment. But right now what is happening is there's a lot of like sentiment across
The market
people
isn't good.
in the market that if companies can do that to you, if you're just a number to a company, right? You should not be emphasizing all
But I
your
think
life
that's why
into a
people
work.
leave companies in a year or two.
No, but
now.
that's what I'm saying, right? Do you think this will like have a big thinking shift across all people that, hey, you should not be prioritizing company that you're working for?
Don't prioritize the company, prioritize the people.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I think that's good advice because you want to work for a place with good culture. But at the end of the day, you have to prioritize, as you said, your principles. So after a year, if you feel like those principles are not aligning, move on.
So here's the deal. You can, exactly. And here's the deal. Your relationship with any company inevitably will end. It will end inevitably. No
Agree.
matter what.
100% probability of that.
Unless you dig your grave inside the company, at some point
Which,
you're
you know
gonna have to hand over your badge
Yeah.
and walk away. Do you know what lasts? The relationships you establish with the people inside that company.
Correct.
That's forever.
Yes.
These are the very same people that show up at your ceremony, hopefully a long time from now.
Yeah.
God forbid. They will show up at your funeral and they will cry tears, real tears.
And not, the
Not to
company.
get a promotion, not to get a
Yes.
reward. But they
That's
will cry because
deep,
they
That's
dude.
believe.
super deep.
I don't know. Do you think people from work will show up at our funeral?
Yes.
A couple of them. Not all of them. A couple of them.
I've never thought about that. That's hard hitting.
Look,
That's one wish I have. I do not wish for a lot in life, but I wish that people who I touch lives with, if they're present in my funeral, I'll know I did something good in
Good
their
in
lives.
life.
I was a part of their story.
let me just tell you that much. There was this guy, without mentioning name, out of respect to his family and, him passing away recently and all that. One of the smartest people I've ever seen, right? People loved him. He had no problems with anyone, right? That guy went up the chain like a rocket. Went from senior to principal to partner, just like that, right? Like a SpaceX
At
rocket.
Microsoft itself?
At Microsoft, right?
Okay.
And then one day, he's in his garage just tinkering with something, and he just had a cardiac arrest, and he died.
Shit.
Oh my God.
He was only young. He was only 39 years old.
That sounds recent.
Yeah, it's very.
And how recent was this?
That's last year, basically.
Okay.
When he died, people talked to a lot of people in the group and all that, and they opened up a GoFundMe campaign for him, and they gathered a lot of money, thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. People didn't have to do that. Nobody was gonna go back and tell them, hey, how come you didn't pay for this guy? But the message that was set out there for everybody to listen is that your happiness is the highest priority. Your well-being is the highest priority. This is what I love about Gen Z and late millennials. They are more aware of, work-life balance, mental health. They're more not afraid to talk about their emotions and how they feel. Some people might see that as weakness. I see that as an absolute superpower. Because
It's
if you
beauty
can,
in life.
if you can vent it off, if you can let your tears out, if you can share, it becomes lesser and lesser than having a cardiac arrest in your 40s or your 50s.
The species keep getting intelligent like by
Of
every
course,
generation.
evolution.
So do you see loyalty with Microsoft or no? What's next
I
for
see,
you?
I see loyalty to the people,
To the people.
whatever these people are. Like, let me tell you this. Imagine, like, companies rebrand all day long. Google went to Alphabet and, they merge and they split and all that. It's always going to come down to this. Who are the people that you're working with? How much do you love them? And then the company becomes an excuse for you to show up and see them every day.
Yeah.
And with these people, it doesn't matter whether you're writing code or making cookies.
It's fun.
Still gonna
You're
be
living life.
fun.
Yes.
Because a lot of people spend more time with people at work more than they spend with their own families. Bad thing, but it happens.
So what would prompt you to like change companies then?
You're gonna have to drag me out of the company.
Really?
So you feel like you found the ultimate people at Microsoft, at least for now.
And this is what I have like
I
a
found the
pushback.
ultimate reason that will bring people inside the company that has a lot more merciful policies and a lot more flexible policies. Like take Amazon for instance. These folks don't do donations. Is that right? They
Not
don't
exactly. They do it, but they don't.
It's
like
not
the,
official.
It's not. The media doesn't show it.
Yeah, but
As
Are you,
far as
are
I
you talking
know.
about Amazon or Bezos?
no Amazon.
Oh,
Like
Amazon.
I'm talking both.
like
They both do it.
Hang on, Microsoft will match your donations, right? Amazon doesn't do none of that.
But it does.
No, they don't. It's a and just for the people watching, this is not a dig on Amazonians. This is a dig on the policies of the company itself. I have a lot of friends in Amazon.
Yeah.
But you have to know, like, it's not a systematic official thing in the company, right?
Maybe.
Like, as far as I know,
This-
like they do it because like
Let me ask you this.
maybe it's a org dependent thing.
Golan-
Hang
I
on,
guess.
hang on. Do you still work at Amazon?
Yeah, I
Let's
do.
move on.
Let's move on.
Okay. If
Well,
you want to
that
move,
makes an interesting
move on.
contrast because why is it Microsoft being so brutal now with the layoffs? You were mentioning just like an hour ago, like Google and Amazon, they gave notice for a week. Okay, now you're gone and that's it. Why are we dragging it for 3 months?
I
Like
don't-
it seems different.
That I don't know.
now this is something that I want to ask you, right? Like when Elon did his round of layoffs, when Zuckerberg did a round of layoffs, they were scrutinized in the media, right? People were shitting balls on him. Elon literally went from a god image to a horrible person in a matter of 1 month. Like 1 month, the entire transaction of Twitter happened. Twitter files came out. He fired a bunch of people. And right now, what Microsoft and what Google did was they took people by surprise, right? They did not have an announcement officially, right?
Yeah, Google
But-
just bam.
Just bam, right? And same with Microsoft.
Yeah.
They did like a small announcement. They're like, hey, we are firing you tomorrow. Not firing, but laying off, right? Why do you think like the perception of public is so different towards different people in different companies where the actions are the same? Like right now we're living in a point where it's all about how your image in media is, or do your actions also mean something?
The one thing that I know for certain is that, and that's my own personal opinion, right? It doesn't represent any entity or anything. That what I think is that it's something bigger than all of these companies. It's the
Okay.
market, it's the economy, right? Like sometimes we used to hear about, one company or another making layoffs to a certain division or certain
Yeah.
section. They stopped investing in one thing or another. But this one here is bigger than all of these combined. This is a recession.
Yeah.
We are getting into a stage where everybody's tightening.
But the
belt.
government doesn't acknowledge it. They changed the definition of recession, right?
By the they just keep moving the
Wait, what's
goalpost
the
every
definition
time.
now?
So if there are like two, like a year ago, it was if there are 2 consecutive quarters with negative GDP growth, then it's a recession officially.
So
And
6
it
months.
6 months basically, and it happened last June already. But the government ultimately changed the definition on Wikipedia itself that it's not that. There are some other variables that need to be considered.
Wikipedia. I love how you said Wikipedia. That's their source.
That's the source of the
It's not
government apparently. And
treasury.com.
they did a change on the government website as well, but they changed the definition. So apparently, like technically, we are not in a recession, even though economics and like all the big industrialists say that we are already.
Yeah, but screw definitions. It's just going down,
Yeah.
and it just might keep going down.
Let me tell you that much. Recession or not,
Yeah.
to me, there are people that are in pain. And I encourage everybody out there, instead of trying to jump on this bandwagon when you haven't been laid off to try to get some likes on the internet, try to actually go down there and sit down with someone who's been laid off.
Dude, all people are doing on LinkedIn is just posting
Marketing.
and getting so many likes. Like, let me know if I can help you book a session with me. And I'm like, dude, you're just garnering likes.
But that's
dude.
because of the the consumer economy, like the entertainment media economy that we have right
But
now.
nobody
right?
cares
It's
about helping
virtue
anybody else. They
signaling,
just want
basically.
their own self promotion.
It's whatever it is. I don't know what people's intentions are, but go out there, sit down with someone who's been laid off.
Yeah.
Help them do their resume. Help them submit resumes. Eat food with them, sit down with them, hug them, love them.
That's all they want right now.
Because a lot of these people, have traveled halfway across the planet. They don't have any parents. They don't have any family in here. So now they're faced with a situation where if they told their parents, they're so ashamed. They'd be like, why am I out of 100,000 or 200,000 person? Why am I the one that got picked up? You know, why am I the one that came out snake eyes and everyone else is perfect, right? So the fact that they allow something like this to allow themselves to speak out about it, my head still hurts just crying and hearing all these stories. But what I want to say is that we could be sad, we could cry, we could put, posts online. Go out there, and I'm all for people, putting posts out there saying, "Come to me, help me." But if you're gonna jump on this bandwagon and try to make yourself popular without
when
actually,
you have not even been laid off.
without matching it with actions. Like, okay, you have not been laid off and you're talking about it, right? I just saw someone on LinkedIn that went like this. He's laid off. And he said, for the people who have not been laid off, please shut up.
Yeah, dude, there's so many posts.
Shut up. Stop talking.
Do you know what I'm seeing on LinkedIn? Like, hey, my empathies go out to all the Microsoft, Amazon, Meta employees. Like, they're great people. All the recruiters out there, like, please message them. I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
They're creating a fog on the timeline.
Yeah.
That people can't see who's actually been laid off so they can help them out.
You're just stealing the limelight. You're
taking
pushing
all
the algorithm in the wrong way.
But then again, it's a new age. Like a lot of people, you have to understand, this is social media, right? Not everything you see is real, right? Authenticity is becoming, more and more rare on social media. If you make one authentic moment, all the advertisers are going to chase you to death so you can milk that authentic moment out of you.
Exactly, yeah.
If you have a disability, if you're suffering from something, they will try to do their very best to have you raise up that Kit Kat. Be like, hey guys, I have cancer. Kit Kat.
They'll do that,
It's a crazy world. It's like the Truman Show.
Yes, yes, it's a society of appearances.
Yeah.
You're just supposed to put the right face at the right moment and just be miserable the rest of your life. It doesn't matter.
These days I'm going on TikTok and I'm literally seeing like different people just come on TikTok and like film themselves crying, like when they go through a breakup or their pet dies. How is your first reaction to film yourself? It baffles my mind. Like something happened to you, instead of you talking to your friends or family, you're literally filming yourself crying and you're uploading that.
So right now there are two kinds of people, right? People who got laid off, people who did not get laid off, right? What is your constructive advice for the people who got laid off right now? Let's target this because that's a priority.
Yeah.
What is the advice for them? Because in my head, right, if more than 50,000 people got laid off this week, right? And then there are not 50,000 jobs
40,000 now.
Around 40,000. And there are not enough jobs in the market right now.
There is.
Oh, there is?
There is.
So, okay.
Startups
so
are
what's
higher.
the constructive advice that you'll give to all people who need help?
So here's the deal. Rule number 1. Allow yourself to process that moment. A lot of people are trying to compress and kind of prevent themselves from breaking into tears. Right? It usually happens, like so far I've been sitting down with like 7 or 8 people.
Is anybody crying or no?
Oh yeah, of course. They're crying, I'm crying. My head hurts. My eyes
just thinking
burning.
I'm tearing up, dude. It's like it's so crazy.
It's really hard, man. Like imagine like when you sit down with someone and she tells you, I'm the only provider for my mom and dad because they're disabled. And I have 60 days to go back to my home country.
Yeah.
2 months.
I look at someone like that, I see my daughter. It's like my son. This is someone in trouble. How can we let them fall? We can't.
Yeah.
We have to do something, right? A lot of people say, well, I don't know if I can help. It doesn't matter. Show up, sit down, buy them lunch. Tell them that there are people out there that want to hug you and take care of you, and they don't want anything from you. Just be happy. Because there will be a moment where you will need that. And if you can't give it, you can't ask for it.
Yeah.
We all have our ups and downs. There will be a moment for everybody of us where we have our... I was homeless. I used to live like a raccoon. I was digging in the trash for food.
When was this?
In Japan. That was like 11, 12 years ago. I didn't have anything.
It's not even that long ago.
It's not long ago.
Really?
And this is when you realize.
Did people help you?
People were throwing stuff at me.
Like in a mean way?
Yeah.
That's so bad.
I had a guy, he had half a cup of hot tea and he just over my face.
So then
because
why do you
what?
help people? If that was me, I would be so I would be like, fuck everyone. No one helps me. I don't want to help people.
That's a great question.
For driving.
You could join that tribe.
But it doesn't give you PTSD, and it doesn't make you feel like, hey, why should I if nobody's done that for me?
That's the thing. Let me ask you something. Let's say there are 2 soccer teams, right? And you are not in any team of them. And one of these teams is throwing their shoes at you. Would you go join them? Would you go join that team? They're treating you like crap. Would you go join them?
No, but I would run away, and I wouldn't pick up shoes and like keep them aside either.
See, that's a moment of evolution in our history.
What would you
as
do,
human beings.
Golan? I would run.
Like, depends on the situation.
I
Like,
think
if
this
my
guy would be
situation-
better
Would you
for
throw
it.
shoes
If-
back,
if- no,
or would
I
you,
wouldn't be better at
or
all.
would you pick them up and put them on the
The
side?
thing is, like, it'll depend on my situation later on. For example, if I've come to a point where I'm still privileged, like if I'm privileged, then I'll do the latter. But if I'm not privileged, if my
Run.
life is still bad,
Run.
then there might be a chance where I'll still be bitter because I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
even after doing good things, right? Sometimes your principles shake. If you have had a very bad time for an extended period of time, that is what your belief becomes. For example, a person who has not seen any good things in life for the 40, 50 years, for any n number of reasons, right? Sometimes his philosophies can change because he won't be able to relate to goodness. So it totally depends what happens in my life at that point. So if I'm, for example, right now, okay, it's very situational again. For example, like right now, you're super privileged. You have access to amazing knowledge. Religion gave you structure, and you've had amazing experiences where you learn that, hey, people are the main cause. And that's one of the reasons you're so giving, right? Let's say your life switched on a different track. You did not get structure. You did not have such realizations. You never know how you're going to react.
Yeah.
So it's very situational. So
I agree.
So
That's
that's how,
so
like,
true.
it depends on like where my life would have taken me, and that's where my answer will
That's
depend.
so true. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank God I'm anonymous in this.
Which is all good, yeah. But
You could wear the shoes. Like,
Ooh.
that's
Oh.
no, or I can like
Or you could sell them.
collect and sell them.
Collect and
On
sell
eBay,
them.
if you get thrown stones, you can
Yeah.
beat a wall with that.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
free stones.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
man's a fucking genius.
By the way, since I met this gentleman here, everything has been saying somehow you
A
have
gem.
this ability to turn every negative energy into
And a positive.
yeah, into
Yeah.
humor
Dude, I
too.
And that's the skill.
I just met you today, and every time you're faced with something negative, you turn it into positive. Like earlier today, I was talking about some situation that happened to me during the pandemic where some random dude just got in my face and my friend's face and said, "Go back where you came from," right? And anybody that I told that story to were like, "Oh, what a jerk," Except for this guy said, "You don't know what this other person is going through."
Yeah. He has his own hell.
Every single time I threw something negative at you,
Positivity came out.
you are there for a reason, and I love you, man. I
I'll be back, son.
I want you to know that.
Aw.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So the first thing is like making sure you went out, making sure you feel the feeling of what happened for laid off people, right?
You have to
After that,
connect.
what do you do?
Oh, after that, what you do? So okay, so laid off for the laid off person. Allow yourself to heal. Find someone to hug. Find someone to sit with, and you can't find someone. I'm here. I'm always between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. at Redmond Town Center and Starbucks. Just go there. You'll find a weird looking dude with a black hat. That's me. Just go there.
Full of people.
Yeah. Sit
And
down.
for
Oh,
people international, you can like message him on
just
LinkedIn as
message
well.
me.
Yeah,
Just reach out to
Facebook.
me. I want to sit down and listen to you. If I can't invest my time into making someone else's time worth its while, then why am I here? What's my purpose? Okay. So to keep that in mind. But then the other thing is, start thinking practically, right? Okay. Here's a resume. Here's a bunch of jobs. LinkedIn now, if you're on LinkedIn, there's this new thing called Easy Apply,
Okay.
right? I sat down with a guy today. I said to him, "You're not leaving this desk unless you click that button 100 times." And he did submit his resume.
It's about
Yeah.
volume.
Was that you?
So
No,
which
no.
which
Okay.
which
I
companies
was
are
like-
hiring right now? Like if major companies are not hiring right.
All startups that I've seen, like the guy is clicking the button. All we had to do, we went to a website. It prepared his resume. It made it really cool. It's just like $5.
Which website?
Some AI website.
Easy resume something.
Okay, put it
Yeah,
in
I'll
there.
put the link
There's
out here.
also a Excel sheet going around of all the companies hiring right now. Golan, put that in your
Yes.
description
I'll
for
put it,
everyone
yeah.
to get access to.
So if you got laid off, there is. Hold on, I need to tell you the name because they actually made his resume look freaking beautiful.
One is Novo Resume.
Oh,
I know.
my perfect resume.
Oh yeah, I've heard of my perfect.
That,
resume.
and then
Yeah.
I'll send you the Google sheet. Get that out, Golan.
Okay, so my perfect resume, right? And then there is also there is all these recruiting companies and the job search companies. There is now some websites. God, please, I want to remember the name. Some websites where you just submit your resume and there's a bot that submits for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What is that called?
Okay, we'll paste the link for that
Yeah.
as well on the
let us.
description.
You can get
Yeah.
us.
And,
Give
you
that.
know,
All help is gonna come your way.
Just sitting down with folks and trying to help out and seeing how things change. I remember, before I joined Microsoft, even before, like, I went from John Deere to Microsoft, right? So it was like a good period of 8 years before the last time I actually applied for a position or something. And I remember you had to do all the work by hand. And these
Yeah.
lovely, lovely websites and companies that tells you upload your resume, but then go again and fill every field.
Exactly. It doesn't copy paste, right? Render from the resume itself.
It's 2023. Update your thing, and if you don't know how to do it, hire one of these laid off people. They'll do
Yeah.
it for you. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that I mean, there are people, a lot of web developers out there. But what I'm trying to say is, these websites, $5 or something, they build a beautiful resume for you, all automated. They have the words you build up, and then you go on LinkedIn, and then easy apply. Just click on this jobs tab. And I said to him, you need to submit 100 applications right now before no lunch for you today.
Yeah.
You
You have to be disciplined about that.
It was there.
It's about volume, right? The
Yeah.
more applications you
Volume.
fill in, your probability of
Storm
getting an
the
interview-
companies. Storm them,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Because they're waiting, right? The beautiful thing about this market and this economy, though, like a big tech is going through trouble
But
economically.
every other industry, manufacturing, oil and gas is doing amazing right now. Many
let's not
many
call
other
that.
industries
But the
are doing
tech people
fine.
cannot go in that sector,
You
right?
can.
Right now.
Consulting people. Every company hires software
It
engineers.
depends
Yes,
on the domain you're working in.
every
Okay.
company hires people in tech that you might not be, like it might not be as sexy as working in Microsoft, but ExxonMobil has an IT team. They hire people to do agile and
So
Scrum.
as long as you have work
they
to say
hire
something.
people.
Yeah. So just the bottom line here. Okay, take your time, heal.
But how much time? Sometimes some people don't have the luxury of time, right?
So
For
the
people
folks,
who are in 60 days.
the folks on
period.
60-day run,
A
at
day.
least take 2 days
2 days, right?
or 3 days, a weekend. Just allow yourself to heal. And if you don't know how to heal, reach out to me.
Yeah.
Talk to me. People say
What do you think
I
is the
admit
best way to heal? Like, is it crying? I think crying really helps.
people cope in
Talking.
all kinds of different ways.
Journaling.
There's crying. There's some people journaling. Like I talked to someone today that told me, hey, I wrote down why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, right? That's trying to reason with myself. A lot of people have their own specific ways. I have my way. I pray, I beg for mercy. I realize and acknowledge the fact that all of this is predestined, and we're just here to see how this story is folding up.
Yeah.
We're not really making any decisions, right?
Something very important to deal with. Let's not call it tragedy because it's not tragedy, but with
not, yeah.
strong situations,
Yeah.
it's just acceptance. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the suffering and a lot of the anxiety comes with just not accepting what just happened.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Those 2 days of saying, okay, this happened, this hurts.
Yep.
Right. A lot of people just never accept that.
Yep.
Okay, I'm hurting in this part of, and that just keeps
Yep.
inside of you.
Yep.
So those 2 days definitely good idea to take.
Also, we've seen our brothers and sisters and friends, on Twitter being kind of publicly executed, losing all their jobs, not physically executed. They all lost their jobs. And some people cheered for that. Some people went and said,
That's bad, yeah.
Some people said, good job, Elon. You're going to put them back in the track, right? I have no respect for anybody
Yeah.
who
Would
will
be interesting to
cheer
see
for the suffering of
yeah.
others.
But where does that come from, though?
Self-hate. Like they have demons inside them.
There's
That's the
this
thing.
there's this genius worship, right? There's
Oh,
this
there is. That's why Elon Musk
Yeah.
is a thing.
Yeah, genius worship. Like, don't get me wrong. I think the guy, has a amazing passion for pushing the wheel of innovation forward, even though he doesn't do all of it himself. He just hires smart people to do it. But this is where I lost Elon, right? This is where I stopped following him on anything. Look, my purpose in this life, my main goal is to contribute directly to the survival, evolution, and fulfillment of mankind. And he shut all of these down in that Twitter thing.
Here, not on Mars. Here.
Right. And here, right? It starts with
But you know, the thing is, he proclaims that he wants to push the world forward. He proclaims that he's here to solve the biggest problems.
I have no doubt he wants to do that. He lost his human side.
Oh, he's like a false prophet. Like it's just like the Bible
I think
over
he has
again.
a God
Like,
complex.
we have the promised land, which is Mars. We have this guy that's speaking in the name of God, which is now his progress and technology, whatever. He's just empty promises. Just
Wow, I never looked at it
Right?
like
I never
that.
looked at it like
we
that.
like
either.
to think we're not religious, but we're just repeating the same thing.
Human beings
wow.
are very religious
Very
beings.
religious, yeah.
Like, no matter how much you say, oh, I don't believe in anything, we're walking in this universe that's full of mystery. We have to come up with a way to reason with that mysterious universe
It's a
that's
human
around
need.
us. Yeah.
And if you don't satisfy it, it's going to be
But
satisfied by
dude,
somebody
what
else.
you said is insane. I think Elon has a God complex.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But now instead of it being something that actually can fulfill that need, it just keeps making you more hungry of it. It's just
Yeah.
like junk food, right?
Yep. Yep.
I have a theory. So you folks know in Europe, right, in 1300s and 1400s, when scientists were proclaiming, actually, which is factually true, right? They were proclaiming that, hey, sun is not the center of the universe. At that point in time, when everyone was there, the mass used to say, no, you are wrong, and they used to be executed.
They used to burn
Do you
people.
think that is what is happening right now, that the mass thinks Elon is not correct, but maybe 500 years down the line, people say that, hey, he was the correct person? Do you think is that
No.
even if there's okay, how about this? Let's open our mind up.
Uh-huh.
Do you think that there's a even 0.1% possibility that happens?
That he is like in the future.
No,
look
that
like,
whatever he's doing is correct. For example, Galileo or like all the scientists, when they proclaimed, hey, whatever the church teaching are, they are wrong. And at that time, the generic mass used to say, no, you're not correct. Couple of 100 years down the line, they realized, hey, no, the other
He was
person was
right.
correct.
Mhm.
Do you think there's a even 0.1% possibility right now that might happen to Elon? Or no?
It's possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's possible,
possible.
but I'll tell you
It's
that much.
possible.
I mean, everything is possible, but
It is possible.
you have to also know, like, for better or worse, we are not in the future. We're in the here and the now.
yeah.
And my position will remain that it doesn't matter how I admire your innovation. It doesn't matter how I admire, the amazing things that you're trying to do for humanity. If you're hurting humanity, you're kind of contradicting yourself.
How do you know he's hurting humanity?
I mean,
These
he's
people-
kinda like-
We're putting more money into a dream that honestly, for example, I've yet to see an explanation as how are we going to live without a magnetosphere? That's
Correct.
just
Maybe I
in
don't-
Earth,
No one knows the answer, but
right? Nobody knows that, and he even doesn't know that.
But if someone doesn't take the job of pushing the envelope in some direction, right?
But
Maybe
don't-
some tangential direction.
But he was really mean when he laid off people.
That's
Dude,
wrong. I
was-
don't
That's
agree
it.
with that.
That's
But
that's the only issue between me
Yeah.
and the guy.
yeah, that's what
right?
I'm saying.
Okay.
Just he was.
Like-
I think that's what he's saying. He was
like
he was
like
really
up
mean.
until that moment, I've been the guy that says, guys, he's trying to do something great for us,
Yeah.
right? But then I've seen these people that got laid off, and I was like, could you find a worse way
to do it.
so okay, how about
you know.
this? What do you think about Satya Nadella's action then?
But
about?
when?
What he did a similar thing what Elon did right now, right?
Mhm.
So why is he not in scrutiny right now?
Well, think about this. Elon, when he took his action, right? And I'm not in a position to defend anyone, but
Yeah.
when Elon,
No, I'm just like trying to think like why is it the Trump Biden effect right now which is happening?
no, hear me out.
Or
Hear me
no?
out. The entire tech sector is in a catastrophe mode. It's not.
Correct.
It's not Pache or Satya or if you see all these big tech companies laying off people, that's bigger than them all. But when Twitter happened, that was a one-man decision. That was a one-man decision that walked in and said, we don't need all of these people. Yes?
Correct.
There
But
you
how
go.
about this? Like as technology enthusiasts, right? I'm pretty sure that all four of us, only two are visible in the camera right now, but all four of us, right? If there's a system which has too much clutter in it, would you rather want to like enhance the system into a simpler thing, or would you want to keep it complicated and keep adding complications? Let's talk about system design,
Yeah.
right? if there's a system where there are like multiple calls happening via different machines, different compute, different systems, right? Would you not want to declutter it, or do you want to still keep it cluttered and keep adding the clutter?
Yeah.
Well,
But
if-
What is the thought process in that?
Humans are not systems.
There you go.
Like
How-
all right, of course, as a
It's just an
CEO
analogy,
and whatever,
but
yeah.
you have to think about not only, but your mind isn't goals, right? But there's still people out there that lost their jobs. Like, of course, if I were in his position and I had to take a company to success, I would have taken the same decision. But how do you do it? That's important, right? It's human. It's not like you're just putting a version 1 and just expire it.
Yeah, but everyone did it the
else
same
was-
way.
But everyone
Literally
else
everyone.
was a little mean too. Like everyone else did like wake up one morning, get an email.
Literally
saying,
every
"Sorry."
every company did the same way. But that's what I'm trying to get right. I'm just putting a different perspective out, but that it's as I said, right? It's a Trump-Biden effect. No matter what Trump does, right? He'll be scrutinized to the T. But no matter what Biden does, sometimes media can give him a soft pass for whatever reason it is, right? Is this what is happening, right? And I think I have a reasoning behind this. I think what happens is, whichever person challenges or like breaks through a particular bubble that is happening in, he or she is the forerunner of all criticisms.
But
For example,
but do you see Elon as being that person?
not exactly. So I don't agree with what he did. I don't agree with the way he did it, right? Not fair. But I'm finding fault in people who just criticize him. Just for the sake of it, because he's super vocal.
Yeah, these folks.
And it's like about PR
Well,
in
that's what
general,
he
right?
wants.
Yeah,
Which is fine, but the thing
you
is,
have
like,
to know that's free advertisement.
I agree, and that's smart of him.
Let me just give you an example.
Yeah,
You must be familiar with Elvis Presley.
yeah.
Yeah, his manager at a time, was trying to create products to franchise Elvis Presley, right? So what do you think he was selling? Do you know the little pins that people hang on their chest? And he was selling "I love Elvis," but he was also selling "I hate Elvis." Why was he doing that? He's Elvis Presley's manager. Why is he selling pins that say "I hate Elvis"?
You want to sell it to the end of everyone, whoever
Because
loves him or
Elvis
hate
on it.
him.
Because he said, "What is hate if we can't turn it into money?"
Yeah,
Today,
That's what I
hate
meant.
gets you views. Look, you just talked about TikTok.
yeah.
You'll find people that go on TikTok. People show me this all the time. Thank God I don't have TikTok, but
Oh God, TikTok is
You should.
So
It's the best app.
bad.
Even though it should be like banned, the policies are
Dude,
bad.
no,
It's an
honestly,
it's
there's
an
a study
amazing
that
app. I love
shows
it.
that TikTok is more addictive than cocaine, and I literally think TikTok is
That's-
extremely addictive.
That's true for all social media.
No, dude, it's way worse than Instagram.
Oh yeah, it's worse. It's
they
like
figure you out.
TikTok
and
is like
show you.
meth, and the
Dude,
rest is like
seriously,
cocaine.
It's so bad. And it's so hard to change your algorithm on TikTok once you get
Because
stuck
there's
in a bubble.
no restrictions. They're in China. You can't do anything to them.
Yes,
Yeah, it's crazy.
But hear me out. Hear me out.
Yeah.
yes.
There are video games that got shut down because they were made here in the U.S. and they become so addictive that the creators, out of their humanity, they shut it down.
Which one, like
That's
Halo?
good.
I don't remember. Not Halo.
I don't think it was Halo.
No, not Halo.
It must like something like Flappy Bird or something
Something.
like that.
Flappy Bird was banned?
I don't know. I'm
Something.
Just
I don't
like
know.
an
yeah.
example.
I'm just
Yeah.
like checking
No, I
one
don't know,
thing
I don't
real
know.
quickly.
Wait, what is Flappy Bird?
You've never. Oh, you were
It's
so.
a game. It was a super
I
addictive
thought you
game.
meant-
You used
That's
to-
mag for us.
Yeah.
Wait, is it the one? Wait, what is
The
game?
bird used to like go through tunnels. You had to like keep pressing at the
Oh
side, it
yeah.
goes
So
through tunnels.
what's wrong with that?
Like, it was
No,
super
that was an
addictive.
Games are
example.
addictive,
It was super addictive. Like there was some psychological play over there where people wanted to beat each other's score. And so okay, there's a thing called, if something is not as difficult but not as easy, that is an optimum level where people can get into a flow state. And that game perfected the flow state of a mind,
Yeah.
where it's not very difficult to
Oh
like
my
win that
God.
game, but not easy as well.
So they're keeping you engaged.
Keeping you
yeah,
engaged.
let's-
Because that's the flow state, right? If it's too difficult,
mm,
people lose interest. If it's too easy, people lose interest. It was at the perfect spot, and I don't know whether they did it by chance, whether it was super brainy guys who were doing it, but it's amazing.
Let me tell you this. I watched this documentary that CNN, I don't know why it's not on YouTube anymore, or maybe I forgot what the name was, but CNN did this interview, actually a documentary, and that was like 10 years ago. They were talking to companies that Meta is hiring, and these companies, their job is to psychologically study users that use the app to keep their eyes glued to that app.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Like,
true.
this
Yeah.
is a
Another
company.
one came up like 2 years
Yeah.
ago.
Do you know why Facebook's color is blue?
Your what?
The Facebook original icon color is blue, right? The Meta
Yeah,
color.
yeah.
Why is it blue?
Why?
Because that tone of that particular RGB value of blue is the most like relaxing to our eyes.
Like the
And
sky.
Like the sky is also like, after looking at some time, you'll like just
You're
fade away
done,
from it.
yeah.
But that particular RGB value, according to like a couple of scientists, that's the most relaxing value. So no matter how much you look at the blue thing about the Facebook, you'll never want to put the eyes off.
Let me just tell you this. Back to this. If you want to waste your time, that's fine. It's your time, your life.
Yeah.
My advice is it possible that you maximize the value of this time by, like, waste your time by bringing someone else to play with you? So now you're not just wasting time, you're helping someone else kind of feel this feeling of fulfillment and enjoyment. Because, for some people, and this is like my extreme extroverted self that wants to talk to everyone all the time.
Yeah.
This is me saying, how can I maximize the value of my time even when I'm playing video games? There's nothing wrong with that. Play video games. I love to play video games. I just finished Ragnarok. Love this game. Go play this game. It's an amazing game, right? Unfortunately, it's only on PS5. I don't know if these are available anymore.
They'll probably have it on Xbox as well, I guess.
You have to go salvage them, just, like...
Flappy Bird was removed from the App Store in 2014 because the owner felt it was too addictive.
Addictive.
So that's
it was?
Yeah, that's
good.
That's a good call. That's a humane act. Imagine this. You succeeded, and you're blocking...
They were making $50,000 a day.
See?
It was just one person.
Just one person.
Yeah, out of his mom's basement or something like that.
Also, the lady who invented Canva. Do you guys know Canva?
Yeah, it's amazing.
She's from Australia, right? She did something recently. She donated like $1 billion.
Wow.
She said $1 billion is gonna donation. She's like, I don't need all this money.
Yeah.
It's quite rare to find this kind of authenticity. This non-money worship. This non-almighty dollar kind of mentality. Right. And I understand these are tough times. People have to be able to kind of support and all that. I understand the business mentality. But going back to what you were talking about, it's always going to be about the people. It's always going to be about the people. If you've been laid off, and I'm also in no position to tell you what to do, what not to do. That's a privilege. But if you want to listen to me, someone who loves people to death, I would say, allow yourself to cry, allow yourself to heal however you want to heal. Just don't be self-destructive, because I know some people have tendencies to self-destruct, especially people who grew up in families where, they're always being bombarded. Oh, the neighbor's kids got better grades than you, and these kids start to develop destructive coping mechanisms. There was this movie a few years ago called The Internship, right? Where
I've seen
it's
it.
amazing.
Oh my God, with who's in it?
Owen Wilson.
Yeah, it's so funny.
So
The
two Google guys.
They had this guy
Google.
called Yo-Yo, and every time he fails, he plucks his eyebrows as a term of punishment. This is funny from a first glance, but it's very deep and true. People punish themselves this way. I know when I was younger, we had this neighbor. She was a girl. Every time the teacher tells her she made a mistake, she would pull hair from her hair. This whole area was bald.
Wow.
Right? Why they're doing that? Because that's how they kind of alleviate the emotional feeling of shame and substitute it by physical pain, like the emos from early 2000s and stuff like that. They used to do this. They used to cut themselves. So they kind of substitute the emotional pain with physical pain.
Just FYI, he's not recommending you to do it.
Do not
He's
do that.
just giving a story.
I'm just
FYI.
telling a story.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that, allow yourself to heal in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And then talk to people that want to help. If you don't want to talk to people that want to help, here's the steps. It's very simple. Go to a website, have the website do the resume for you. I know you could be not in the good mental state to make a resume. That's okay. But also a word for the people that are still around and haven't been laid off. Be ready. Be on standby. So you don't get hit by a bus and you don't know, right? Because I don't know if this is going to be the last round.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the economy is going to be like. So be prepared, at least.
So I have a question. Like, you brought up economy, right? Like, all these massive companies, the way they operate is like they don't use the cash that they have. They usually take out loans from banks and operate all their businesses on that. Right now, if you do the math, right? If a average salary of a tech person is $200,000, right? And
Okay.
let's take a number. Let's take $100,000, right? Let's take that as well. And if number of people who got laid off are like in $100,000, in 100,000, that's 336, 39, 312. That's like almost like $1 billion that they're saving, that the company is saving, right? a couple of things that they can do is like they could have not fired. But what was the reasoning of the C-suite people or the company's owners that hey, you have to fire? Was it because they hired too much and they were not prepared for the economy?
I think
Do they
so.
want to save money? Because again, saving money cannot be an option because they can take out loans from different banks. What was the exact reason of taking people out and like layoff? I'm still not able to like wrap my head around the reasoning, the actual thought behind why they did this and how they did this. It's another different story which we can get into. But do you know what happens behind the scenes of the C-suite level? What is your best guess?
I don't know. You know, the best thing I can tell you is that if it was really up to me, I would just, you know, have people take pay cuts and keep everyone.
Yeah.
working.
Yeah,
Or cut down
didn't-
on luxuries,
or they
right?
can stop free food, or they can stop the wellness benefits, or
But why?
That's-
Like let me
that's
ask you
one
this: if
thing.
you have a company that has 200,000 employees, and you're laying off 10,000, if you take 1,000 from the salary of every
It's
one,
like 5% people, yeah.
or why can't they just get rid of the entire wellness benefit? These companies give 1,200, 2,000. Just take it out every year.
No, but that's the reason.
But-
You have to bring the
Or
mic
just
closer.
take it out every year.
Yeah.
we don't know what the reasoning are, and to be honest with you, genuinely, I don't care.
And do you know what is interesting? I've tried to like ask a couple of people who are like my mentors, and none of them like
We don't know.
A, know the answer, B, decline to answer.
You know
Like
what I
what
find interesting?
I'm trying to like still wrap up. What happens behind the C-suite room, inside the room, that hey, they make a decision that we have to like let go of people. What is the reasoning? Because if they can take out money from the bank, right? Why do they have to like resort to this? Is it like some kind of
unless
evil?
unless you can no, I don't think so. But you know, I don't buy into the conspiracy theory of like, oh, there's some evil behind the scene. But I'll tell you this: I don't think unless you can get C-suite level person to sit down in that chair,
And no one usually they don't come and
no
comment
one
on that.
knows. No one really knows.
But being like we are like thought thinkers, right? What is your best guess? The bestest guess that you can throw out there.
Well, sometimes firing people is the right choice. I'm not saying that that's the right choice
Reason.
right now.
What is the reason?
But what I find interesting, if I can
Cost.
just,
Yeah.
didn't you see how much we hired during the pandemic? Didn't your team grow? My
No,
team
I
grew
understand
like
that.
3
Again, let's
times.
get to the
Was it
base
like
reasoning,
40%
right?
growth or something like
That's
that?
what I'm trying to get. Why did the pendulum swing from one end of this bonanza of hiring now to the other end of firing like 10,000 people in a single day? Or 3 months in Microsoft's case.
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to ask, right? What is the reasoning? Is it to save $1 billion?
But then how
Because-
come these companies, their C-suite wasn't able to look 5 years out, project it, and slow down hiring?
Oh, I think they must have done something like that. But what else is happening in the world that they already know? I'm not saying like a secret, but
It might be a
I
secret.
definitely want to get a
It-
C-suite
it
person
could
and dig
be,
his
but-
brain, his or her brain. I want to understand like what happens behind the doors. Like what is the rationale? Because if not a single person can crack the rationale, there's something of a next level thinking that they're having, which we are not exposed to, or which is so dark that we might not be able to digest it.
I mean, again, look about it. It's not even one C-suite or another. It's a bunch of big conglomerates,
Exactly.
big companies
Yeah.
that following the exact same pattern.
So there's something which we don't know, which maybe
The only thing I can tell you is that there has been some over hiring,
yeah.
yeah.
and then the pendulum just went back. Like I said, by the way, even after 10,000 or 15 or 18 or
It's still overhired, yeah.
you're still a little bit bigger than you were before the pandemic,
Yeah.
right? So, for better or worse, we don't know.
Yeah, but one thing that might be the case, now that we're speaking about death in one way, is that in one way the tech dream is over. Like the way that we were sold the tech dream, not technology as itself, but everyone. For example, there was an interview with a Sadhguru, so this Indian yogi. Everyone, like, what do you want to be now? I want to be a software engineer. Why? Because it's just very popular right now. It's
Really?
all
I
the-
feel like people are like going away from that dream of working
No, in the
tech, and they
decade of
wanna-
2010 to 2020,
now,
that is
yeah,
the dream.
but now everybody wants to be an entrepreneur.
yeah.
I feel like the dream is to be an entrepreneur, to start something of your own.
Now that means tech.
It's been
right?
really hyped up.
Almost.
Yeah.
So it's part of it.
Does AI have any part to do with this? Do you think?
I don't think so. Maybe
I mean,
they
it's not
want to
It's not
think
powerful
that's-
enough yet. I mean, Chat GPT is
Yeah,
quite
let's-
crazy.
Yeah, let's talk
But
ChatGPT.
but it's not Like the version 4 that's coming out is going to be quite interesting because it has, I think, 1 billion parameters. The one that we have today, I don't know, in the millions, something like
So
that.
let's pause a little bit, right? For people, what is ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Can you give some context as to what it does? How did it
Also,
come
the thing
to
I want to know is how
rise?
did
Yeah.
some random company like OpenAI do this, but like Microsoft, Facebook, Google's, how come they weren't the ones to invent such an out of the world AI system?
Actually, we're backing up. Like OpenAI is backed up heavily by Microsoft.
By Microsoft. They're
Backed up meaning?
Like
They were
we
investors,
gave them the
initial
resources.
investors.
Right, but at the end of the day, they are the ones that did it, right?
They wouldn't be able
Why
to
did
without our
Microsoft
resources.
internally not do it?
Look, here's the thing.
First, explain what ChatGPT is
Yeah,
for the normal people. Yeah, and then
GPT
let's dig into this. Yeah.
GPT stands for generative prediction transformer or something like that.
It's no wait.
Generative
Yeah.
P
Let me-
transformer.
It's generative pre-trained transformer.
There you go.
Yes.
Right. And what it basically does is like, you know, a training model. How does this work in the first place? You have a bunch of data, lots and lots of data, right? And you take that data and you train a system to produce what we call a prediction model.
Correct.
This prediction model is what goes and receives your input, and based on that prediction model, it finds all the nodes to kind of give you the proper answer. This is extreme oversimplifications for the smart people out there, right? So what it basically does, it goes and says, okay, where is in that graph? And by the way, that guy could actually have a better answer because that guy's really smart. He's working in Azure Compute, so that's like really heavy stuff. But you know what it really does is that it's trying to give you an answer based on weights, like how neural networks work, right? And give you these weights and say, okay, here's an answer that is closer to what you're looking for. You can fool this system today. Like if you tell it today, for the people watching, go try this on ChatGPT. Say, you know, Mike's mom had 4 boys, John, Jane, and Janet. What was the 4th kid's name? He would say, you haven't provided me with this answer, even though you said Mike's mom.
Yeah.
Try it today. You wouldn't know. If you tell it something like, if 9 women got pregnant in the same day, you know, when do you expect all these women to deliver? He will give you 2 years ahead.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it's still trying to find its way, right?
That's a funny tidbit. You cannot make more than 2 questions, like more than 1 question in ChatGPT because the volume is so high. They like either are 90% like their downtime,
Capacity, yeah.
or they like make you make 1 request in like 2 hours.
Because
So,
and the system today can replace a lot of the content creation.
Yeah.
Like there's this dude that created an entire children's book on a weekend
Exactly.
with the pictures through ChatGPT and DALL-E, and he's selling it on Amazon.
So what are your views on ChatGPT?
What? Wait, I want to. That's a good way to make money.
The question, like what?
That's what everyone that's firing people right now is thinking. Like, if this thing can do all that, then can we
What
just
are the opportunities?
save costs?
No, but
So
then
what
you
do you
go
think are the
build that.
opportunities?
You go be on the team that builds AI. You go work on AI, you build, you train the models, you feed the data, you go on the. That's why I think machine learning and AI is the place to be.
So we're in this new era of computation, right? You know, you have multiple fronts,
Correct.
right? There's all these bleeding edge, you know, kind of investments are happening right now, right? You have the augmented reality, mixed reality. You have the blockchain, right? You have the NFTs. You have all of these things, and including AI, machine learning. It's not like something we only heard about last week.
Yeah.
You know, people have been knocking that door heavily, right? Nonstop. And not that there is any ethical restriction around any of that. People are saying, can this save me money?
Yeah.
So imagine if you're a newspaper and you're hiring 50 writers, and all of a sudden someone comes to you and be like, hey, all this money that you're paying to these folks, you don't need it. I'm going to give you a machine, and you're going to tell these machine few things, and it's going to write you an entire magazine in 10 minutes.
And who pays for that?
For what? For the service?
No, who pay? What I'm trying to say is, all right, the company's saving money, but who is impacted by that change? Like
the people that will get fired.
But
and the users too. Have you ever interacted with a bot and had a good experience?
This one is
this
creepy.
one is amazing.
Oh yeah, I'm talking with him right now.
ChatGPT?
I've worked with it. Yeah,
You've put a
I've
question
built
in.
code with him.
No, but have you
Or
used it as a user?
Well,
Not he,
Dude,
not
it's
she,
so
not they.
cool.
It's
Oh
it.
my god.
yeah.
Go on ChatGPT and say how to break up with my boyfriend.
But
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
one thing.
What are you doing?
Exactly,
I'm-
dude. What the hell? I didn't expect you to like say
For
that on
people
ChatGPT.
watching, that's the boyfriend. I think.
But
That's
I'm
funny.
anonymous.
Yeah, but she's anonymous.
Yeah,
right
we
now. No one
totally don't
knows
know
my
who you
girlfriend
are
is.
because this channel never featured you, and your voice is completely.
But I have a question. Like you said, right? They can create content, right? This is where I beg to differ. They cannot create content, something like that has come out right now. What AI does is like gets data from whatever is existing and then creates it, right?
Thank you.
So if something has not already happened, how will it like because that's the distinction
Exactly.
between newspapers and all, right?
But that's the thing. A lot of the content out there that is up for consumption is still consumable with a tiny bit of modification, and that's what this
I
guy.
agree. And
Like-
that's what they'll do,
Like
right?
you can, like if you look at the news, they're reporting the exact same incident with a tiny bit of change.
Okay.
Sometimes they use the exact same keyword.
Okay.
So like this person that once went out on TV and said, "Oh, it's a nothing's burger," and every news outlet says like, "Well, we believe that it is a nothing's burger,"
Yeah.
right? So imagine if you feed it, my man. I was just kind of playing around with Chat GPT, and I said, "Hey, here is my book. Rewrite it in a biblical style." And you wouldn't believe,
wrote it?
yeah. And Hassan came on to people and said, "My people, follow me, for though the standard is the way to go."
That's pretty
And
impressive.
then the Lord looked upon them and said, and was happy and pleased with them. I swear to God, it was hilarious.
So where is it going now?
genius.
Like, will it become an enhancing tool, or will it become a tool which can pioneer something?
It'll at some point in time.
Can pioneer something?
Do
Hang
you
on.
think machines are able of achieving creativity?
No, that's the thing. They don't have inspiration, dude. Like
Exactly.
they don't
They
have
don't.
like something like the pictures that Michelangelo or
Van Gogh.
or Raphael or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like you're looking at inspiration. You and I met today, right? According to LinkedIn, there's no chance you and I would meet ever. LinkedIn is putting you 3+. That means that you're
You're
far, far away.
On the graph. Yeah.
That there is no possibility you and I could be together, right? So machines will always work with what they have today, and this is a challenge.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a challenge for the innovators everywhere. If you can make a machine be inspired, have revelation, have an aha moment out of the blue, the same way Lennon had his songs, and the same way every artist out there, the same way Tesla had his amazing ideas, and Einstein and all of these people. If you can make that, and you won't, but you could try, then you have achieved true self-consciousness.
Let's dig on consciousness, right?
But how many people are actually on their daily jobs being creative? Like a lot of, like if
Not a whole lot.
Not
if
a
you're
lot.
not
Great.
skillful,
Not a lot,
then
yeah.
maybe a bot will replace you.
I'm calling upon people to stop doing
Yes, to
dull
be
work
creativity.
and be human.
Yeah.
So follow-up question. What do you like? You brought up consciousness, right? How do you define consciousness? For example, like a baby right now knows nothing. Let's talk about it in a very analogous way, right? Here is the AI machine which has no data right now, which is going to be trained. Here is a kid which right now has no data and has no training. The kid grows up with the data that he or she is provided and comes up with a mind which again becomes conscious. Do you think that is what consciousness is? Because no one can define consciousness right now. Can AI reach? Because it's all about data consumption. Michelangelo, you brought up, right? He consumed data from a lot of things and finally he came up with an inspiration. Don't you think AI can do the same thing at a particular nurture level? It's a very deep.
Let me ask you something. If you look out throughout the evolution of humanity, right? How did we discover fire? If there was a machine sitting in the same position where man discovered fire, a machine would never come up with fire.
I have a question. I have a
Go.
pushback on that. How did the fire get created?
How
With
do you-
2 stones? Yes or no?
2 stones or thunder or something? Yeah.
Let's say 2 stones
Yeah.
right now. Okay. How did a man see 2 stones?
What?
How did a man see 2 stones?
How?
That was the data that he got in his brain, right? What happened?
What?
It's all good.
Yeah.
The man got the data in his brain. Man or woman got the data in his brain by looking at it. That is data that is preset. He or she must have picked it up one time. Again, that's data. They must have seen, hey, if we clack, something happens. Again, data, right? Finally, the fire got created with that. So everything around
but
us.
what made him clap them together?
Any random activity, randomness. That is the beauty of human beings, right? That randomness creates things. The apple falling was super random. But then that was data. Hey, something fell. What can I do? How do discoveries and invention happen? Randomness with data creates creativity. Anything. For example, Van Gogh made a paintbrush which are like super random. He just made it and that became pioneer. So do you think ChatGPT, if an element of randomness or a variable of randomness in different AI machines is contributed, that can also lead to pioneering?
Well, the created thing can never create.
Why?
Right? Because
Again, let's break it down. We are engineers, right? How do you define creativity, or how do you break it down?
I was not touching on creativity, but more than if it's creative, if you are the being that's creative, then you cannot create something else just like that, because whatever creates you is giving you the input for you to do something. So it's like saying that a machine can be creative is putting the cart before the horses, because you need to first train the machine. And if let's say machines eventually replace us, right? And everyone in the planet is just being harvested, just like Matrix or something like that.
And that's what I'm saying, right? Like if if the human species in general, right? If say suppose there's nothing, which is zero data, do you think any discoveries will happen?
No, of course not. But if there's zero data, then
That's
there's not
what
anything.
That's what I told you,
if
right?
we have no data?
So if we are in a blank void, do you think any discoveries like gravity will happen? I don't think so.
You would still have revelations and inspirations.
This is because of the knowledge that we have right now.
Not without any knowledge. Babies dream. From what?
No, babies dream after they have some knowledge. The newborn baby, after 1 second, if
You
they
never
sleep,
know.
they don't dream.
You never know?
No, that is
How do you know?
That is neurology.
You remember
Hold on. Look this up on Google. Find out if babies dream while they're still in their mother's womb.
Baby dreaming
In mother's womb.
Okay, let me check this. We don't know for sure whether
It's saying it's likely that they do.
likely, again, not surety, right? So likely is yes or no. It's like the Schrodinger's cat, right? Like if it's in a box.
But where's the data? It's all
They
dark.
start experiencing REM around week 23.
No, REM is something else, but dream is something else. But
My
right now,
man, listen.
Yeah.
Your baby, the baby, is in a void in a way. It's dark inside the mother's womb. And yet, they're dreaming. How?
No, it's likely. Likely is not definitive, right?
My God.
If I have a likelihood of doing something, that doesn't mean that happens, right? And it's not proven. You cannot create equations or you cannot create discoveries just based on the fact that it's likely. That is what science is. Science is you created something and then you prove it negative until it happens.
Okay, let's play the scientific way. Let's
do
say a theory.
Yes.
They say likely.
Yes.
Not no, not impossible. They're likely. Let's just assume they do. Where's it coming from?
No answer. But then on the same thing, is there a likelihood that AIs can also not pioneer? With the same definition of likely.
Here's what I think. AI is not going to replace humans, but it will replace people who abandon their humanity.
I agree. No, what I'm trying to say is, again, breaking down simple concepts. I am an engineer at heart. I love breaking down into simple elements which are digestible. What is creativity and something?
To me personally, creativity is an activity that engages all the aspects of yourself, soul, body, and mind. That's creativity.
But that is because you as a human know what soul, body, and mind is. If suppose we travel 1,000 years ago, where we do not have definition for these words, will you be able to come up with this definition? I don't think so. Because you haven't. Let's say I come up with the word.
No, hang on. Just because something is undefined, it doesn't mean that it's not observable and realizable.
Exactly right. So why do you think AI won't get into this? I'm just pressing on the point because.
So you think AI at some point in time will realize that it has a soul?
No.
It just doesn't have one.
It doesn't. No. It will say electricity.
But how do we know that we have? Okay. How about this theory? How do we know that we have soul? What if we are like the sperms for the robots?
So
I can
creating machines, right?
I can tell you how you know you have soul.
Yes.
Go ahead and gather a bunch of human parts and stitch them up together. How come it doesn't come back to life?
Well, the alchemist tried. Doesn't work.
What's the secret?
Okay, how about you demolish a particular
Again,
thing?
I want to let you know I am very religious, so a lot
I
of
know
this
that.
will just come at you.
No, which is fine. And that's what I like, right? Like having different point of view is what
Yeah.
I'm striving for. What I'm trying to say is, maybe
For
that's
AI
correct.
and machines, if you stitch them together, it'll come back to life.
But how do you know stitching is the only resultant input for the soul, which is the output? How do you know that? That's again a belief that you have, right?
What
It's
do-
not proven.
So
Is
hang-
it proven?
So wait.
Not with machines. You cannot.
No, I'm talking about humans, right?
Look,
not
look,
machines.
look.
Yeah.
No, I know.
There is a machine, there's a human.
Correct.
And you're saying this machine at some point in time will achieve the level of consciousness
Yes.
as a human. How do we know it would?
I think it can, yes.
So hang on.
Yeah.
You have to know, there is a fundamental difference between us and a machine.
I agree.
You can stitch a machine together and it will just run. You cannot stitch a human being together.
But this is what I'm saying, right? Maybe stitching is not the answer for consciousness. Who has defined consciousness till now? There's not a single human being who has defined.
What I'm trying to tell you is that there is an aspect of us.
Which is true, right? It's like
Hold on.
Yeah.
There's an aspect of us that makes us a little bit more than a machine.
And 100% I agree, but that is not the point in contention right now. The contention is, can it mimic consciousness, or can it mimic creativity, or can it mimic all the things that we do?
How can it mimic consciousness if it's missing an aspect of us that it doesn't have? Like,
But
soul?
how do you, that's what I'm pointing to. How do you know that? That is something that you got a knowledge from, right? And if we can feed that
how do you
knowledge
know
into
you are
machines-
real?
I don't know.
No.
That's what I'm
Let's back up. Let's back up. How do you know
proven
you
my
exist?
point. That's what I'm saying.
We
You,
need more water, dude.
yeah. Because this
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to say, right? I know humans and machines are not correct. But what I'm saying is, can we replicate can machines be able to replicate? Not
I
all
do
the
not
things,
think
but the
so.
things that we are talking about right now. Like
There's-
creativity, breaking down simple concepts. Let's talk about consciousness and creativity. How do you break those two now? Let's not get into soul. and all.
Creativity comes from creation, and there's a secret of creation that we
Yes.
don't know yet.
Exactly. So
It's the word.
yes, so that's what I'm saying, right? I think it's basically data plus randomness,
Yes.
and that's.
Oh, that's
So you think
There-
consciousness is just random? Soul is randomness.
I think so. Yes.
so you're a
No.
solipsist.
Huh?
You're a solipsist that nothing is real in a way.
Again, that's getting onto a different
I
topic. What I'm saying
highly
is,
disagree with you that soul is randomness. What are you talking about? Go home.
like, no one knows. Like, okay, so how do you define a soul? Let's talk about this.
And
I'd love to know
you-
because not a single person right now can define soul or consciousness.
I know.
Oh, consciousness
talk-
is not even that hard.
I
I
know.
got the answer.
A soul is
It's not soulmate. Soul.
Yes.
a soul is the unicorn inside you that spills out magic for you to live your life.
And I agree to that.
Mm,
That's
like
the
that.
that's the close. That's
It's
the
the
closest
mini
perfect
unicorn
definition, yeah.
inside you. It's the magic that no one can, describe, no one can see, no one can say whether it's real or not, but it's floating inside you and makes you live life.
Actually, I like
Agree.
that.
That's
I
correct.
like that.
So see, everyone agrees to that. That's what I'm trying to say, right?
You know
People
what? I
cannot
made fun of you. I apologize.
Yes.
people cannot define consciousness and creativity right now, but they are ready to say that AI cannot do that. If we are not clear in our definitions of consciousness and creativity, right? How can we totally disband that something else
Yeah.
cannot do it?
Yeah, but
Is what I'm the point I'm trying to get to.
let's
Does that make sense?
Let's back up a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you point where I am right now? Where am I
Where
right
is
now?
he? What direction he is?
Where am
Like
I?
depending on
there,
yes, yeah.
there. But we all know that all that you're seeing is photons bouncing off my atoms into your retina, flip inside, and your brain
I
is
agree
making
with
the
that.
picture, right?
When am I denying? Yeah.
Wait. Let's.
Yes.
So where am I really? When you're seeing me, where am I?
Okay. Follow up to your question. Do you think we are eating anything right now?
No. I'm not trying to pose controversial question. I'm trying to make a point. So where?
I agree.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make a clearer point. Do you think when we're drinking water, are we drinking water? Let's deep into science. Because photons have gap as well, right? We have
Yes.
gaps as well. If some things have gap, right? If we are consuming it, is the gap, like how do you know that the gap are filling things? Does that make sense?
That's what I'm trying to
So
say.
any question can be taken to a point where it can be rebutted, but that's not the point. The point is if we as humans don't have the definition of consciousness and creativity defined ourselves,
Yeah.
no one can define it for sure, then how can we clearly say that something that we don't know, something else cannot do it at all.
Because that's
is what I'm
Because
trying to
we
get to.
create that thing, and if we don't know what
she
it is,
beats
how
me by
can we
1
create
second.
something that does know what it is?
How can you create something that has a secret that you don't understand?
But that's what I'm saying. Can
So we don't have
Exactly.
the secret, but we
But
want
I'm
to give
trying
our.
to give you a definition of consciousness.
But that is what I'm saying, right? Can it come to a point? My question wasn't like, does it do it or not? My point was, if we are able to understand, won't we be able to like do that in the machines as well or not?
You'll never be able to understand it.
How? Never is a very strong word.
It is.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Let's
Because
keep,
if you
let's
do,
keep
then
with
you-
the question of where am I? Okay.
Yes, sure.
I won't ask it as a question anymore.
He'll
But
just tell
you,
you.
you are assembling the image of myself and everyone here in your brain, right?
Correct.
Which is
Right?
a very handsome
Very handsome man. Yeah.
Well,
For
thank
people
you.
who
Thank
can't
you as
see.
well.
Yeah.
But the point is, you cannot point at anything with any certainty that it is what it looks like it is. If you look
Correct.
deeper, right? You just
Correct.
said it. It's just empty space. Atoms are
Correct.
99 empty space,
I agree.
right? So all that you know in existence has happened inside of you, right? Okay, that's consciousness. That part of you.
Just pause.
that's-
Let's say you said all that has happened till now is inside me. What is that? Isn't that data?
it
Isn't
is
that what we
data.
define data? Or is
It's
it not?
information.
Man,
Let's call it
even-
information.
Information is data, right?
It is.
Again, let's not get into semantics. Let's get into the uber point of what you're trying to make. But continue, yes.
But I like how can you create something that has something that you do not understand?
I
right?
agree.
All right, but now that we know that everything that you've ever seen has been constructed inside your brain out of particles that we cannot see, right? Then how can we give, for example, even the ancients knew it, like in the temple of Apollo, right? What's the first thing that comes in top of it? Know thyself, all this
I agree.
right?
Yes, yeah.
So whatever we're trying to do with machines is just substituting a very minute part of what the brain is.
Correct, yes.
Just rationality.
I agree, yeah. No, I think the point
So
here, I
trying
think I'm
to
not a
make-
good communicator, maybe.
Okay.
I did not explain. I am not disagreeing to you folks. What I'm saying is, let's get to the Uber point. I love zooming out of the conversation and not
Let's
going off
zoom out.
tangents. The Uber point I was trying to make was, will there be a time, infinity, 100 million years ago,
Yes.
anytime, will a machine be able to mimic creativity and consciousness?
I think so.
And
Yeah.
that is
I
because
think so.
you are saying that we won't be able to understand consciousness and
think so.
creativity.
Yeah,
at
Are you
that
saying
point.
mimic or have?
Mimic? Because what are machines doing
mimic,
right
the
now?
machine can mimic anything.
Because what are humans doing
Look,
right now?
look,
They're
look.
mimicking something, right?
look,
But for
uh,
mimicry, you need something to mimic. That's-
yeah. So here's the thing. Like if you watch the movie Her for Joaquin Phoenix, he
Okay.
falls in love with his operating system.
Let me note this down. Her
oh, that's
movie,
a
right?
good movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
a good
haven't
movie,
I haven't
right?
seen it till
And
now.
in the movie, he got
movie.
angry at some point where the person that was playing the voice, Scarlett Johansson, right?
Yeah.
And she started to breathe, and he
Okay.
said to her, "Stop that! That's not real." So she's mimicking breathing, even though she doesn't have lungs, she doesn't have nose, she doesn't have anything. She's a machine. So if mimicking, yeah, of course the bot, the toaster, as I like to call them, just so people not to glorify the overlord machine gods, the toaster will tell you, I got an idea, but it's all based on data. But it's not the same way you get an idea and I get an idea.
Okay, another sample like
Mhm.
experiment. Say suppose a baby out of the womb. Probably it might happen, right? It is totally put in a void where it is provided no data.
Right.
Do you think when it grows to an age where it's like it can consume information like us, right? Maybe to a point where the brain can comprehend things. Will it be able to do creativity or things like that?
If it's,
Let's think about it a
if
little
it's,
bit.
If it's likely for it to dream, it might be able to.
How are dreams constructed? Let's talk about this as well. What was the last dream that you folks had?
Oh, I saw.
And did it come from data or did it come from random things?
I saw the weirdest dream yesterday.
it's
I'm,
like
I'm glad you
Tulu.
I'd
actually
love to
asked
know that. I'd love to know that.
Dude, I was standing on a rock and there was all these ducks, like
Okay.
big ducks.
I'm writing down words that you're saying. Rocks and
like,
ducks.
like around me,
Okay.
right? And all of them are
Around you.
opening their mouths.
Mouth. Okay, good word.
They
After
they
that,
want bread from me.
mouth and
I
word.
have
Okay.
no idea what that meant. That was creepy as hell.
Okay. All these words that you said. Ducks, rocks, mouth and beard. Or whatever the
Did you
peaks
say
were.
beard?
Sorry, I
bread.
meant bread. Sorry, bread. I wrote it down as
He's
beard.
looking at my beard.
Autocorrect.
Because he
So
shortened
all
his.
these things, if a human has not seen these things, do you think they'll be able to dream about it? I cannot say conclusively, but I'm
hang
questioning
on,
things.
hang on.
It's a valid
we
question.
dream of people we've never met.
But how?
But you're trying to separate like humans from creation itself. It's like if we never have like this input, then what we will have. Like,
Exactly.
Like if we put the experiment has been conducted. Like this weird psychologist put his own child into just like a room, empty room for all her life, until like
and
she
they
was
had
like
no
a teenager.
data points at all.
No data points at all. I mean, of course, there's light, there's sound, there's food, right?
Yes. Other than that, no data, right?
Yeah.
And what were they able to think of? And I'd love to like pull this up
Yeah.
because
Look it up. Look it up.
yeah, because logically, right? I think very logically.
Does your laptop actually say fintech?
Yeah, it does. It's not Apple. It's fintech.
I think we
And
need to.
thereby hangs a tail.
I think we need to invest our brains into something a little bit more useful than predicting the stock market. It's for Gazi.
I agree.
It's
I
for
agree.
Gazi. It's for
And
Gazi. It's a
not just
Wazi.
that.
It's a Woozy.
Chat GPT can can predict really well as like what can happen, I guess, depending on the data as well. And that will be like a revolution, I guess, in stock market. But deviating from the topic, but again, I'm saying a kid usually mimics what is happening around because of the behaviors they have learned. She's laughing because she knows like I can like
But it also sees dreams before it's born.
about what? Do you know
We don't know.
conclusively? About nothing. Again, it's a likely thing. Like likely doesn't mean that happens. Is what I'm trying to get. If kids are mimicking, I know she loves when I argue like this, when I hold on to the point, because I'm a very logical thinker, right? I'm religious, but I'm logical as well. Like again, if that is what is happening, if a kid is like mirroring things, then why can't we mimic all the things in a machine as well? And I think that is something that is going to happen in like a couple of years when we figure out what the true definition of
couple
consciousness
of
is.
Do you
years.
think you are only the data that you've gathered?
Sorry, what?
Do you think you're only the data that
I
you've
assume.
gathered?
I assume. You can laugh all you want, but the thing is like no one is able to make a very
I'm
concrete
laughing at
argument.
you. I'm just laughing at the extent of this conversation.
Literally.
That's funny, yeah.
We need to.
We've
Because
been
I
a
love-
little bit
yeah.
off the point.
Because I love
personally-
thinking about
Dude,
these
let's
things.
get back to the first half. Was amazing.
Let's get back to the point. Okay,
I want to hear Hassan's inspiration.
I'll cut out of this. But
Dude, this was too much.
I loved it because
I
again,
was like
I lo-
dreams and ducks
Look,
and
I love
mouths
it.
and babies
Because I focus
and
on-
photons.
Look, he has an analytical.
Dude, isn't he amazing
Yeah.
though?
Yeah, like,
He's out of the world.
Like the
I
fact
like
that he
it.
can enjoy a conversation
I-
like
That
Yeah.
means he's smart, right?
Yeah.
He's
No,
out
because
of the
I
world.
love-
I think he's.
I
smart.
love
He's
how
out of the world.
Okay, no more.
Word
No.
out on the
Okay, this is
street.
what is going
Golan
to be
is
cut out right
out
now. All
of the
things about these
world.
things, but yes, okay. Let's converse.
Order
Maybe-
in the court.
Maybe this is the coffee chat conversation that we can have later on. But again, let's come back. What do you think the future of AI is going to be? And a couple of decades, right? Like if you look at 2000 to 2010, that was the decade of kind of internet booming. 2010 to 2020 was the decade of cloud, where cloud came and like had amazing leaps. Do you think 2020 to 2030 will be the year of AI?
Yeah,
Or will
for-
it be something else
yeah, for
that we're
soft-
not able to see?
Yeah, for software engineers out there, you got to up your games. You're gonna stop moving data around.
Yeah.
Moving data around and kind of building an API that talks to a database and a UI.
Yeah.
That's stuff that the machine will be able to generate in a click of a button.
Correct.
You need to kind of up your game in terms of understanding neural networks, machine learning, how the prediction models gets generated. There's a lot of tooling out there for the people that are familiar with .NET Stack. There's ML.NET. Leverage Azure, leverage all these platforms out there, and I think there's a lot of cloud providers out there that have these capabilities. There's also a whole new job that came out of this AI machine learning world, which
She's
is
going bonkers over the
which is-
useless conversation we had.
which is labeling.
Yeah.
Labeling is a new job, like teaching the machine that this set of data. Do you know that Amazon? I think Amazon does this. They send you a bunch of pictures. And you get to determine, in these pictures, you label all these pictures. This is a dog, this is a cat, this is blah, blah, blah. And then they feed that back into the system, right? To create that prediction model,
Yeah.
right? So
She's
anyway,
having a ball of time.
get out. Get out.
Yeah, as in if you're not interested, you
No,
can go out right
no.
now. We'll talk about something else. Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, no. It's like I
It's
sometimes-
distracting, yeah. A little bit.
I wanted her to get it all out.
Okay.
Yeah, you can laugh outside
This
and
is a
come
nice
back.
way. This
I'm
is
done.
a very nice way. You're fine.
Yeah.
I'm wearing pink today. So.
But it's all good. Yes.
Okay. So anyway,
You were saying, yeah.
what I'm trying to say is, you have to feed that into to the system. And, Satya was just talking about this the other day. So it just created a whole new job called labeling data labeling, so this is a whole new pattern for this. And, if you're a software engineer out there, someone who's interested in tech, if you want to spend the next 20, 30, 40 years of your life kind of still working in this industry, you gotta need to stop moving data around and looking around of how to validate emails, through regular expressions and all that nonsense. You need to up your game a little bit, because the next era is going to be a whole lot smarter and a whole lot more about these systems than building a compiler and defining an integer and a string. And
What do you think?
Too? Like we that way we can actually develop actual skill. Like,
yes,
humans can be more than just email bots.
yes.
Neil deGrasse Tyson said something really nice. So the reason, like a couple of people were saying, won't ChatGPT be super useful for all the kids who can directly copy assignments and give it? He said that'll happen because right now the education system values grades more than we value learning.
Yep.
So when that shift happens, right, that we start valuing learning more, understanding
then
things
an
more,
A or B or C and
then
categorizing
these
people.
things won't be as trivial that hey, we can copy and
It's the same thing. When I was younger, my math teacher would say, you'll never have a calculator in your pocket everywhere you go.
yeah.
So you have to know how to do it in your head.
And now we have a calculator
And
in our
now we
pocket.
literally have
A
a
calculator in the pocket.
supercomputer for that time and age, in our pockets. It's going to be the exact same thing. Teachers today that are telling kids, you have to be able to write, you have to be able to be creative and do all that kind of stuff. A lot of that will be automated.
So then what do you think the next generation of schooling is going to look like? What do you think they're going to care about?
I think this is a step in the right direction, because I think as human beings, we're getting more and more rid of the dull, automated, mechanical tasks.
Yeah.
And we're getting more and more towards what really distinguishes us from one another, right? What the true creativity.
Yes.
Like, you're not doing dull subconscious work, go up in the morning and click on the register the person. And
Yeah.
this is done. There's a whole lot of companies, like if you look at a company like called Pega Systems, their whole job is to literally give you a bunch of tools. And these tools, you go and say, when someone comes in, fill in their name and fill their address and all that, all the things that you do on UI today, that people that do in fitness centers and stuff like that, all of that gets automated. Okay, so imagine a higher version of that, where it's not just the system, it's the code that is being written and all that. Again, moving data around 5 years from now, maybe 2 years, 3 years from now is not going to be a thing. So stop worrying about, do I use Vue.js or React or any of that stuff, and start thinking about, how can I get onto this new wave of computation if you still want to be in the tech industry. I mean, I always wanted to be like a Bo Beep, just have a, bunch of, a whole bunch of sheeple, and just go somewhere in New Zealand and just,
enjoy nature, enjoy the world.
Enjoy nature, just quit all that.
So what do you think are some new jobs that are going to arise in the next
Labeling.
10, 20, what more? If you have to make wild guesses, right?
Would you like to be a labeler?
I personally wouldn't, but there might be jobs where you build systems to auto label things. So AI,
So you'll build that.
so sub AI for main AI.
Yeah.
We actually, in my team, we have graders, but we also have auto grading as well.
Yep. Where, in Meta?
Yeah.
Is that where you work?
So that's
Just making
already
sure that
happening,
people
right?
get the
No, I don't.
name,
We'll
location.
beep it. Don't worry. But do you
Don't
think
make me
people
laugh,
get into
Hassan.
more of
Once I laugh, I won't stop.
other streams like not just in technology, but maybe other streams like
What about
understanding
poetry?
humans?
Poetry.
I think skill is making a comeback in a way. What I mean by that is people actually doing stuff with their hands.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think so.
I was thinking more of the arts, like poetry, theater, acting.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
tangible stuff.
I mean, a lot
Tangible
of these
stuff.
things can be generated too. Like, there will be a point in time where you can generate an entire Marvel movie by just feeding the system the script.
Another Marvel movie.
Yes. Another one.
But someone has to be there to
It's
write
like,
it,
it's
right?
like DG Khaled with another album. Another
Another
one.
one.
But someone has to be there to write the movie.
No, that is what ChatGPT is doing, right?
So see how it kind of comes down to all this grunt work of getting the cameras and having the actors do all of that. AI will generate all of that, and the only thing that's left is the creativity, the idea of the movie.
Wow.
So the idea is
So AI
Have
could
they
be
ever
the-
built an AI-based movie right now or no?
not that I know of. I can check.
But I know a lot of people are now writing an entire ad, like Ryan Gosling. No, what's his name? What's the Deadpool guy?
Ryan Seacrest? No.
Matt
No.
Damon?
No,
No.
Deadpool.
I don't know, man.
Ryan Gosling.
There we
Ryan
go.
Reynolds. Sorry, Ryan
Thank you,
Reynolds.
sir.
Ryan
Appreciate
Reynolds.
you.
Ryan Reynolds.
One
yeah.
person keeping up with the
Yeah.
stuff. This is Jake, by the way.
He's amazing, by the way.
He's amazing. So Ryan Reynolds, right? He wrote an entire. He has this Mint network, which is a mobile network in Canada.
I've seen it.
He's an entrepreneur. He went and bought like a soccer team, football team in Wales and stuff like that. And he wrote an entire ad with ChatGPT. And then a lot of people start kind of doing little segments that's scripted fully by ChatGPT. But the idea, you have to feed it something and say, hey, write me something about blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
give it data, yeah.
It's really good at rehashing stuff.
Yes.
Amazing stuff, yeah.
So creativity is the only thing that's left.
But
And
that
once,
could be a good thing.
yeah, it could be a good thing. And once ChatGPT gets connected to like 3D printing, robotic arms, stuff like
Even
that,
more automation.
you know,
Yeah.
automation to a whole new level. Again, you know, take the Marvel movie idea, right? You know, you don't need to do all the grunt work.
So the whole rat race will be taken over by AI.
Yes.
What will be of us then?
The creative.
We will
That's
have
what I
to
was saying,
face
right? Yeah.
ourselves.
Well, remember, AI will replace only those who abandon their own humanity.
Yeah.
Those who decided to become a bunch of cogs in a machine, and they'd stopped doing something that makes them unique, distinguishable from another person and another person, another person.
Yeah, I like that.
Recruiters call it butts and seats. You know what I mean?
Bots and Zeets?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's interesting. So do you think like we'll focus our energy on something else as well? Like, for example,
Creativity,
understanding
yes.
not just creativity, but understanding
sports.
humans as well? Or different sports?
Living.
Did you say sports?
Yeah, sports
you-
cannot be automated.
No, you can generate an entire game for people.
No, but it won't be live.
Physical sports.
Physical.
Because it's always about pitting one human versus another, right?
So hang on. If you look on YouTube, you'll find Japan created this bot that plays basketball.
I understand, but pitting humans versus humans only.
Yeah, that's gonna be very rare.
Oh yeah, maybe like that
It's
will
gonna
be
be
rare.
very, very rare. You know, you're gonna have people like you should watch the movie. It's called it's bots fighting each other. Help me out here, Jake. You know, there's the
Transformers.
Real Steel.
Real Steel, yes, yeah, I've
Real
seen that.
Steel.
Yes.
Real
That's
Steel
pretty
has
good.
Hugh Jackman in it, and it shows you an era where you know entertainment became just pitting bots against each other and watching bots do all the
Wow, like
sports.
maybe there'll be a day in the future where people pay $1 million to go see a game in person, live. It becomes a thing for
Becomes
the
a-
luxury.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing what we do today. Like how many people today go to watch a horse race?
It's expensive.
It's expensive
It's
and rare.
rich.
It used to be a commodity, something that you
Yeah.
used to find. Today, nobody's doing that anymore.
No.
It's going to be something very similar to that.
Interesting. Because
Especially when the bots are playing soccer, there is no limits. They can fly, they can jump, they can do everything they want. Why would I watch?
But that's
a
like
bunch
having
of,
the cheat codes in a game. Just boring. Right? Like we draw all this interesting stuff from our limitations too,
yeah.
right?
so if you have to make 5 guesses, right? Like if you have to guess what happens in 2080, which is like 60 years from now, and considering that the acceleration of everything in the last 60 years is also tremendous, exponential. In 2060 or 2080, right? What are the 5 predictions that you make right now might happen?
I think a conversation like the one we're having right now, in its authenticity and its humanity and everything like that, will become like a relic. Like 2080, people will be like, why would I watch something like that? Like, look at the data consumption today. Like, people can't even stay in front of a video for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
right?
Attention span is 0 now.
The attention span is getting slower and slower. So imagine what this content consumption is going to be in the future,
Yeah.
right? And why are we consuming content? Because we want to feel entertained and we want to feel joy. So what if it's not through content anymore,
Then.
right?
Again.
It would start looking like this movie, this little, I don't know if it was cartoon. Was WALL-E a cartoon? I don't think it's a cartoon.
The
It's
movie?
animated, right? Like WALL-E. Just it's a bunch of fat folks just being dragged around and being shoved food in their mouths.
Well,
And
that's
that's
also
it.
assuming that oil will last forever,
Yeah.
right? We don't have enough energy to feed AI forever, right?
Well, go back to the Matrix. You gotta turn us into batteries, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I use that analogy. Yeah.
I mean, AI, like machinery, doesn't die. It doesn't have a soul, right? So for it
Breaks
to
down.
travel millions and millions of light years,
They need energy.
to reach places that what if they are able to find a, like, I don't know, a lot of people say they're trying to find energy in hydrogen now. There's these hydrogen cars. Have you heard of these? It's very interesting.
I've heard of these, never seen one.
Hydrogen cars like 20 years old, right?
Is it that
It
old?
is an experimental technology
I did
that
my
happened.
high school project on it.
Oh
Wait,
my
what?
God.
Hydrogen batteries.
And,
That's what you're talking about.
everyone
that.
left. It's very dangerous. Yeah.
It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, that's already straying out of the topic, but
Toyota just released a hydrogen car like 3 days ago.
Wait,
Yeah.
they did?
Yeah. Another
Yeah,
one. Like
but
not in
how
like
much? For
not
how
in
much?
commercial use. Again, nothing disclosed, but they
Oh.
said it's a
Experiment.
experimental thing. Yeah.
it's never about the technological possibility. That's almost limitless.
Yeah.
It's always about the economical viability of it.
Yeah.
Is it economical to replace all cars
don't
with
think
that?
so.
It's
No,
not.
not
It's
at
the
all.
same reason that replacing every car with Teslas, it's not economical.
I also expect that, the way we consider value and economy in 2080, I think it's going to be very different, like money itself and what it means.
Like, will it be a different construct for us, or
It's very possible that what we call currency today
fiat currency?
is going
right?
to change a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Just knowing, I mean, forget about this clown that got arrested for the cryptocurrency.
FTX guy.
What's his
S-
name?
Bankman
SBF.
Fried?
Wait,
Yeah,
what happened?
Fried,
What
yeah.
happened?
Sam Greenwood fired.
Why?
Yeah.
So
a great
he
name.
came up with an FTX. Again, he's a scholar grad. Again, I can tell you the story later on.
Yeah,
But yeah, continue.
he's a big
He's a
clown,
fraud.
right?
Yeah.
But anyway, what I'm trying to say is the fact that the world now is starting to think about currency in terms of a completely different perspective, decentralization, and all that. That's not going to stop.
So the form will change, but the currency, the virtue will still remain the same, right? That there's a commodity that you can exchange to get another commodity.
Like let me ask you this: what if the currency becomes a something that is like an emotional currency? Like, hey, if you do this thing for me, I'm gonna give
Yeah.
you 20 joyful unit.
I
and
think
you'll
that is
feel
it can
joy.
go there, I guess.
I
That is
know,
a very
he's-
big
yeah.
possibility, yes.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like Black Mirror.
Yeah,
It's the Black Mirror
it's little
version,
like
yeah.
Black Mirror.
And
yeah.
that's the question for the Black Mirror thing as well,
Yeah.
right? 2080, like emotional currency is something like which is like super interesting.
Yeah.
What else do you think? So everything will be attached to humans as an entity, not something external, right? Is where you're thinking it's going.
I'm thinking people are gonna lean a lot more towards immediate value. Like right now, you're carrying the money in your wallet or in the credit card or whatever, right? I think it's gonna kind of revert back to this old exchange trade system, right?
Mhm.
Where, hey, give me that much units of joy or happiness or laughter,
Yeah.
because comedy is not gonna be a thing. Like people won't understand why something is funny anymore. So there will be this currency where it says, hey, this is going to make you go like, ha, 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 like that. And you're going to feel great.
And in exchange, you'd give me something else,
Yes.
like a
Wait,
hug or
really?
something.
Yes.
It's called emotional currency, right? That is a
Someone
concept that is getting discussed a lot
Wait,
these days.
really?
Yeah. As in, like, again, it's a prediction.
Wait,
Nothing
who's
can be...
discussing it?
Like, many sci-fi authors have done it. Like, people... Like,
this
it's a
needs
very...
to be a movie.
Yeah, that's what Black
It should
Mirror
be a
is,
movie,
right?
right?
Right now.
Wait, really?
As in, like, it's not an episode, but Black Mirror is like...
Don't
you
laugh.
It's a utopian thing, like, what will happen later on. It's like an experimental content. What do you think is
You
going to
guys are
happen in, like,
so
2080?
smart.
What is your one prediction that, like...
Imagine the
80.
people that
Let's
feed
say
off of
that's,
fear. They like to feel...
Or anytime
fear.
in future.
That's a lot of
Wow.
decades from now, and I honestly don't think we're going to find a replacement to this highly abundant, dynamic, and fantastic thing as like condensed petroleum.
Yeah.
So what happens with that? If that's gone, forget AI.
Yeah.
Forget cities.
We might not even be here.
Forget the internet.
Yeah, we
So-
might
Yeah.
not be here.
I think our future is going to has less technology than now, not more.
Unless...
That's my personal.
Yeah.
Unless we beat it up and develop AI to be smart enough to go find these resources for us.
But where?
Solar.
Do you know?
Outer
Do you know that we
space.
discovered only 3% of the ocean?
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe that can be one. Or people can, like, invent something like solar sails
or
or
we can invent
light
like
sails.
gills and we can go live
You know, there's a
underwater.
theoretical concept where there's a thing called light sail, right? Like you can
wanna
use
be a
light to
mermaid?
push
Um,
things.
Why not?
Like,
Yeah.
for example,
Why
like,
not?
so that is something that, again, very...
But
You never
you
know.
need energy to make those things.
Exactly. Again, light has
I
photons,
hate
right? So
water.
that energy, it's very minuscule, but that's what people are thinking that maybe, like,
It's a
in
really
future...
cool theoretical
Yeah,
concept.
light sail is something that can happen again, like wind sail, anything.
Like imagine the people, like at a point in time where people say, I like the feeling of fear
Yeah.
And society has become so digitized that crime is not a thing anymore. Actual danger is not a thing anymore. Our overlord.
Who says that? It so is right now, right?
No. Imagine in 2080.
Or 2080. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought you were saying right.
And I want units of fear to feel like a human.
But
Very-
how would you? I'm confused about that concept about units of feelings. Like, okay, I give you 5 units of joy. How does that transform in joy?
Chemicals.
But are we just like firing chemicals and neurons?
Yeah.
Hmm.
It'll make that happen for you legally.
Legally, yes. Do you
And
think
then
there'll
there's
be
always the underground society that fixes you, because there will be a point in time, like, okay, where you are already today a cyborg. Who today doesn't wake up in the morning with their phone in their hand? You are already
Pygmies?
You're interesting.
Pygmies?
Big what?
Pygmies.
Big me's, yeah.
No, pygmies, the uncontacted tribes in Amazon or Africa.
No.
Well, yeah.
I'm talking about the
Yeah.
mass majority of people on the planet
Yeah.
today. You wake up in the morning, you can't even open your eye, and you're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what did they
With one
say?
eye open, you're like looking
Yeah.
at things.
How many
That's
notifications
Golan.
did I miss?
That's me.
How did it mean
That's
notification?
you.
What are they
Guilty.
saying about me?
That is the definition of Golan.
Guilty.
So listen, you are already a cyborg.
Yeah.
The whole idea is that this guy is gonna get closer until it becomes
That's what Elon Musk is trying to do by
Yes.
putting a chip in
Neuralink.
your
the
head.
chip in your head, right?
Neuralink, yeah.
Someone at some point in time is gonna make it. These phones are gonna go away. We're gonna look at these phones the same way we look at landlines today, right? Like I said to you, there is AR, VR. There's a lot of holographs, all of that, right?
Yeah.
There will be a point in time where this will be a relic of the past, and you're getting closer to technology. What happens next? Have you ever watched this? Is it Cyberpunk, right? The game 20, Cyberpunk.
Let me search.
It's-
You said Cyberpunk?
Yeah, Cyberpunk.
There's a game called like that.
Yeah, it's a game, and it's based on a book.
Is it this one, 2077?
That is the one.
Okay, gotcha.
Play that game, or watch at least a video of this game being played, right?
Okay.
Cyberpunk is talking about a time in the future where humans decide to, self-modify by adding more machinery, into their systems.
Interesting.
The same thing that Elon is starting to think about, where you put the chip in the head, that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
But imagine this. Let's say you're working in a corporate, right, or in a company, and John walked in the office. He's looking weird. He has this half thing plugged into his head, but John is getting the job done in a day that other people are getting in a month.
You're even thinking it's big. It's not going to be big as well. It's
Yeah.
going to be a minute.
What do you think other
people
people are
that-
going to do?
Yeah.
Right into the shop.
Yep.
Plug me in, baby. Need to pay for that house mortgage.
Exactly. People buy into convenience and something that can make them excel. It's a
So-
competitive world.
So that's
We are primal in nature, right? We compete for things.
right.
So,
The state where we are right now,
yeah.
the way we are today, in the future, I think people who allow themselves to be modified to become cyborgs, they're going to look at us the same way we look at tribes in the Amazons and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So you can
Interesting.
either join that revolution and be a cyborg, half machine, half human,
Or die.
or just become primitive.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Imagine the day in the future where
I'll
you
be
go to a
primitive.
museum and you see the
I'll
iPhone.
be primitive too. Do you know why you and I are saying that? Because we are living in a time where everyone is primitive.
Yeah.
But imagine the next generation of people that will get into this world and be like, why would I be primitive? This guy is
Exactly.
much faster.
Yeah.
I mean, children today, they can't get their eyes off of this tablet. They're already living in that world.
It's
Today.
a generational, educational thing. Yeah.
But could we get the resources to make that happen?
Let me ask you this. Tell your grandma or grandfather, if they're still around, tell them, hey, would you carry your phone around all time?
Let me give you a tidbit. My parents are going to Dubai
Yeah.
right now. Both of them forgot their cell phones
Yep.
in the car.
Yep.
And they're at the airport. They're like, hey, they're calling from some...
phones in the Uber?
No, in the car that
In
they
the car,
drove.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they're like, hey, we forgot the thing. Can you text it to this guy who's traveling with us? I'm like, wait,
Yep.
how can you forget it? So it's a very
Because
similar
it-
concept.
that's going to be us.
That's going to be us. We won't be like, we'll be alienated towards things.
Yep. The next year, you'll see a guy running like 70 miles an hour because he's a cyborg. He has
Yeah.
all these, exo stuff going on
Titanium
for him.
neuron legs. And
Yeah,
like that,
right? And you're looking at it be like, I'd never do that to myself.
Yeah.
And that's how we're going to go away. Just like our grandparents are like, we're not going to carry these phones.
We'll be grandparents.
Yeah.
Like kids become parents, parents become grandparents every generation.
Yep.
no matter what we think of like
It's
other people.
circle of life.
The circle of life. And that's like a great point, I guess, to end this show. Hassan,
This epic 2
Augusto,
hour show.
Mehak,
No.
sorry. Okay, names will be cut. I super appreciate you folks coming in. I had a blast conversing about things. Let's wrap this up on a note which can help again other people, right? If you have to give 3 quick advices for people who are like not in the best state right now because of the layoffs. 3 quick advices from all 3 of you folks.
Heal. Prepare your resume. Apply to jobs like crazy, especially if you're on visa. And if none of that, if you're not able to do any of that, find me. I'm on every social media platform. I'll sit down with you. I'll help you.
Anonymous one, go ahead.
Ask for help. Like, reach out, leverage your network, ask for help, even though it might seem really hard. Second, just don't dwell over it too long. Take action and start converting. Dwell a little, but not to the point where that's all you're doing, because you have limited time.
Anonymous too.
I would say make use of the perspective. It's a good opportunity to get like distance from the things that you think you want. That would be one. What would be another one? Well, the acceptance that I mentioned. Like,
Yes.
don't delve on the fact that something happened to you. Worst things that happen to anyone. And just try something wild, maybe. Maybe tech is one option, but also consider other options.
Mm-hmm.
I like what
That's
he said. Like,
That's amazing.
I think
yeah.
the biggest waste of time which you can do is think why did this happen? You'll never know why.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter why.
So predestined, pre-written, just
Yes.
what's the story?
Just figure out the next step.
Yes. And 3 quick from mine. My, not experience, but I think this helps a lot. Since the time is limited, everyone has like an urgency for getting a job or for any number of needs, right? You can only be super useful if your mind and body is useful. Make sure every day work out. That'll like do wonders for you. I'm not saying work out like 10 hours a day. Half an hour, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Let your body be connected to earth. I'm a big believer, if you connect
like that.
yourself to earth, you'll get an energy that no one can else give you, right?
Mhm.
One, that. Second, plan your day. You have to plan everything, month, year, till the time you get a job. If you're like the saying goes, right? If you're failing to plan, you're planning to fail. Make sure you have a plan. And third, I'll say is try to enjoy the process, because and again, this is a very nuanced thing. When I say enjoy the process, sometimes what will happen is you'll feel very bad, but only when you come out of this, you'll realize all the happy moments in life, and then you'll know, hey, this is what I went through. I can achieve anything in life, and have that realization. Because if you have that realization, you can conquer anything. If you think this is your lowest, more lower things will come, but this will show your true character, and this is a great character building time for you. So these are the 3 things ahead of like what you all folks said, because you have to be super constructive and like make sure that any help. And again, I'll post links for Hassan's LinkedIn, Hassan's Facebook, my LinkedIn, my Facebook. Even if you want to talk for 5 minutes, I'm always there for you. With that, thank you so much, Hassan.
That's why I love you, brother.
I so appreciate all of you folks coming. Some people did not show the face, but I love that you showed the face, because ever handsome Hassan has to show the face.
But
right?
the people who didn't show their face, we're here. We
No,
love
they're super-
Golan's
they're super
garage.
They are
beautiful.
handsome too.
They're handsome and pretty as well. I'm not
Yeah.
denying that. What I'm saying is, you are even more handsome.
Wow. Okay.
But with that, thank you so much,
We got
folks.
left out.
No. But you're not handsome. You're pretty, Mehak, by the way. FYI.
Delete my name.
No,
sorry.
handsome,
Again, name
for you,
killing.
pretty. Not
Thank
handsome.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, folks. Have a great rest of the night. And don't worry, this too shall pass. And with that, peace.